desire, and we should have state police, and a lot of legislators, and they will agree with me, that if we have state police and community policing, it's going to give confidence in the system.
Our desire is to provide accurate, objective, and informed reports to enable our leaders in the executive and the legislature serve the nation better. As reporters report in the parliament, I also believe that we have a duty to set the agenda for the lawmakers, especially for the 9th National Assembly. And one of the ways to do this is to engage.
Saying no government will allow anybody to openly call for destabilization in the country and do nothing. The President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, who stated this in a statement in Abuja on Sunday, and he said, I quote, Nigerians do not need another spate of lawlessness and loss of lives, all in the name of revolution, especially not one that is orchestrated by a man who makes his home in faraway New York, and who can easily disappear and leave behind whatever instability he intends to cause. According to him, the DSS does not necessarily need the permission of the presidency in all cases to carry out its essential responsibilities that are laid down in the Nigerian constitution. He maintained that Sowore, who called for a revolution to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nigeria, is a person of interest to the DSS. Meanwhile, counsel to Omoyele Sowore and human rights lawyer Femi Falana has insisted that the DSS is guilty of desecrating the court despite the denial by the service. The DSS operatives on Friday rearrested Omoyele Sowore, convener of the Revolution Now movement, barely 24 hours after he was released on the order of the court. The DSS, however, denied infiltrating the court, stating that the service did not attempt arresting Sowore inside the court, alleging that his supporters only staged managed the drama to bring the service to disrepute. Debunking the claim, Falana said not only did the DSS officials invade the court premises, causing the court to hurriedly end its activities, their leader also apologized to the judge. According to Falana, the presiding judge, Ijoma Ojukwu, had summoned the head of the DSS team in her chambers and asked him to justify the invasion of the court, after which he reportedly offered an apology before he was asked to withdraw his men from the courtroom. Now, in the same vein, Afenifere, in a statement by his spokesman Yinka Odumakin on Sunday, berated the presidency for defending Showore's arrest in court by masked DSS operatives, describing the incident as a coup against the judiciary. It said, and I quote, if there is any sign that the country has slipped into the abyss of totalitarian rule, it is the unfortunate statement by the presidency on Showore, end of quote. Now, the DSS action have generated more reactions following the rearrest of Omoyele Sowore. The United States has also expressed concern over the rearrest and detention of Sowore. The U.S. Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, in a tweet on Saturday evening, advised the federal government to respect the rule of law, judicial independence, political and media freedom, saying they represented the key tenets of democracy. Now, the federal government will decide later today on the request by vice chancellors of some federal universities to extend the enrollment of lecturers on the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System. The IPPIS enrollment, which commenced on November the 25th, came to an end on December the 7th. Figures obtained from the IPPIS office on Friday showed that about 39,160 university lecturers in 27 universities had been enrolled into the payroll platform. Moving on, the federal government has unveiled plans to develop strategies to counter the use of chemical, nuclear and explosive weapons by terrorist groups, notably Boko Haram and the Islamic State for West African Province, ISWAP. There are known incidents of the use of explosive precursors such as ammonium nitrate by Boko Haram to make improvised explosive devices, IEDs, in Nigeria, as well as incidents of loss of radioactive materials by oil prospecting companies in the Niger Delta. Recently, a team of nuclear experts from China, United Kingdom and Norway, among others, secretly evacuated the Nigeria Research Reactor 1 from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in Kaduna State. Though set up for ABU by China for research purposes, it contained similar materials used in the manufacture of nuclear power plants considered very attractive to terrorists. The nuclear experts in charge of the evacuation had concluded that material from the reactor could be used to prepare a dirty party bomb by terrorist organizations to be used on soft targets especially. But the national security strategy launched in Abuja last week by President Muhammadu Buhari described ensuring safe, secure and authorized usage of such weapons as a matter of national security that requires building capacity and national institutions. Now, there is no plan by the Lagos State House of Assembly to repeal the state's pension law permitting former governors and other public office holders to receive pensions, its spokesman Tunde Braimo said on Sunday. Braimo, who is the chairman, House Committee on Information and Strategy, explained that Lagos Assembly would not go to the way of the Zamfara Assembly, which recently repealed pension law for its former governors. A federal high court in Lagos had ordered the federal government to recover pensions collected by former governors now serving as ministers and members of the National Assembly. The court also directed the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, to challenge the legality of state's pension laws permitting former governors and other ex-public officials to receive such pensions. Braimo, however, faulted the court ruling that ordered Malami to take immediate legal action towards the abolishment of state laws that permit former governors to enjoy governors' emoluments while drawing normal salaries and allowances in their new political offices. He argued that separation of powers as enshrined in the Constitution empowers the legislature to make laws, the executive to implement, and the judiciary to interpret the laws. Now moving on, poor voter turnout and voter apathy marred the recently conducted Adamawa State Council polls. The election, which saw voters vote in council chairman and councillors for the 21 local government areas of the state, started behind schedule in Yola and its environs as it became clear voters were not enthusiastic to vote. There was a restriction of vehicular movement, though commercial motorbikes defied the order to conduct their businesses.
My people just come and vote wisely. Yeah. No any violence or any distance. Successfully and going normal to their very places. So far, so good. It's just that the turnout is a bit low compared to the turnout during the presidential and national election, National Assembly election, and also the gubernatorial election. Is far low compared to that. But alhamdulillah, I think it's peaceful.
This is the one of best election I witnessed in my life, because it is an election that has started without any crisis, without violence from any of the party. Already the election officers came in time. At the same time, the security personnel also came in time. The election was started in time. There's no any fault, violence or crisis.
So it moves smoothly without any fighting or accusing other parties.
And still on national matters, the Association of Local Government Marriage Registrars has called for more clarity on the issues relating to registration of marriages by local government councils. The president of the association, Deji Shokaye, while speaking to newsmen at a protest in Abuja, accused the Ministry of Interior of creating a crisis situation by trying to subvert the powers conferred on local government councils, empowering them to conduct marriages as required by the Constitution. Shokaye said the recent letter by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Georgina Ehuria, informing embassies within the country not to recognize marriage certificates from local councils is illegal, a breach of the Constitution and an abuse of due process.
An arm of federal government is what we are having issues with, and that is the Ministry of Interior. Because they want to continue with the illegality, and we sworn to uphold the sanctity of Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended. That is what we stand for. I want to believe the present government, their mantra is basically on two major things: anti-corruption and upholding of rule of law. And the president of the country will not sit aloof and allow a segment of his government to erode the powers of other tiers, because local government is the third tier of the government. The sanctity of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended must be protected by the federal government, especially the president. We are calling on the president to please look into it and salvage a ugly, because this thing has really caused a lot of embarrassment to our people. Some embassies have started rejecting local government signed marriage certificates based on the letter purportedly written to them by Ministry of Interior, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Interior. So it has really gotten to a state whereby some of our members have been chased out of their offices through violence.
And it's time to take a quick break now. We'll bring you more news when we return. Stay with us. To lose 60 young lives at sea is a national tragedy and a matter of grave concern to my people, to my government. A full police investigation has been launched to get to the bottom of this serious national disaster. The culprits will be prosecuted according to law. These are the words of Gambian President Adama Barrow on Saturday. He was speaking in a national address on the death of 60 nationals off the Mauritanian coast last Wednesday as they embarked on an illegal migration mission. The incident was marked as one of the deadliest disasters this year among people making the perilous journey to Europe. The boats that left Gambia a week earlier had been carrying at least 150 people, including women and children. Now, 2 survivors have been found alive 2 days after a 6-story building collapsed in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Authorities said the building collapsed on Friday and it killed at least 5 people, injuring 31 others, and left 24 more missing. When the 2 survivors were found on Sunday morning, a crowd of onlookers burst into cheers and claps. Nairobi Police Chief Philip Ndolo said the rescue of a man and a woman had invigorated emergency workers with hopes of finding other survivors. He said the 2 were in stable condition in hospital. And that will be it on the African Scenes. Up next will be our foreign news.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like Alibaba now?
And Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dollar, everybody feeling alright.
Make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early. Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
foreign scenes now, a large fire has swept through a bag factory in the Indian capital, Delhi, killing 43 workers, officials say. The blaze broke out at the 4-story building in the city's congested old quarter early on Sunday morning. At least 100 people were sleeping inside the factory, which mainly makes school bags, when the fire started. More than 60 people have been rescued. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called the fire horrific and sent his condolences. Still on the foreign scene, a volcano has erupted in New Zealand with about 50 people in the vicinity, leaving a number of them unaccounted for, police said. The tourists were seen walking inside the rim of the White Island crater just moments before the eruption. Police said at least one of those evacuated from the island volcano was critically injured. White Island, or Wakari, is off the coast of North Island and is one of the country's most active volcanoes. Despite that, the island is a tourist destination with frequent day tours and scenic flights available. Now, the FBI says it is treating Friday's deadly attack on a Florida Navy base as a presumed terrorist attack. The Saudi gunman, who was training at the Pensacola site, killed 3 sailors before he was shot dead. Special Agent Rachel Rogers said the FBI was trying to determine if he had acted alone or had connections to a group. She said other Saudi students had been questioned but not arrested. They were reportedly confined to the base and cooperating with investigators. Meanwhile, the victims of the attack have been named as Joshua Caleb Watson, who's 23, Mohammed Sama Haitham, who's 19-year-old, and Cameron Scott Walters, 21-year-old. The U.S. Navy said the sailors showed exceptional heroism and bravery in the face of the evil. And that's it on the foreign scenes. Up next is the business news.
On Saturday, the 7th of December, marked another milestone in the history of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as the Chamber appointed its 3rd female president in its 131 years of existence. An investiture dinner was held at the Echo Hotels and Suites in honor of the new president of the Chamber, Mrs. Toki Mabogunje. Toki, who is to fill the role of president for the next 2 years, expressed her gratitude, describing it as an honor and a challenge. The new president, during her acceptance speech, pledged to continue to dedicate herself to the service of the LCCI to ensure that the chamber retains its foremost position as a leading private sector advocacy organization in Nigeria and the flagship of the Chamber of Commerce movement in the country. She promised effectiveness, performance, and sustainability as her watchwords as they adopt to the demands of the 21st century business environment and the 4th Industrial Revolution. Meanwhile, the African Development Bank has agreed to partner with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to promote the special agro-industrial processing zones aimed at increasing food production capacity and promoting local, regional, and international trade. This came after a resolution reached at a 2-day farm-to-fork dialogue held in Ilorin. The dialogue was themed eliminating the economic impediment to a prosperous commodity agribusiness. The dialogue was aimed at providing long-term solutions to the challenges that the agricultural sector is facing in Nigeria. The communique issued at the end of the event said women and youth were fundamental to the agricultural ecosystem. It also added that actors and players in the agro industry agree that the youth needed to be engaged actively in the agribusiness. And that's all on business news. I am Irene Bani. Still ahead on Plus TV African News is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
If you no talk, they go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will feel the pulse of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus, politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
In entertainment, Miss South Africa was crowned Miss Universe on Sunday in Atlanta after a lavish ceremony filled with glitter and heartfelt speeches about female empowerment. Zuzimbini Tunzi, who's 26, finished first ahead of the Puerto Rican and Mexican finalists in a flashy televised event hosted by American comic turned TV personality Steve Harvey. Television personalities Vanessa Lache and Olivia Colpos served as backstage commentators, and a panel of 7 women determined the winner. Tunzi earned cheers during her closing speech, a new segment of the competition in which she talked about wanting to empower young women to feel confident. Tunzi beat more than 90 contestants from around the globe in the 68th installment of Miss Universe, which was held in Atlanta's Tyler Perry studios.
The new Miss Universe is South Africa.
Congratulations to Tunzi there, and that's it on entertainment, and the very best in sports coming up right after this break. And in sports, unified world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua could face fellow British fighter Dillian Whyte next, said the BBC Radio 5 live boxing team. Joshua reclaimed his 3 world titles by beating Andy Ruiz Jr. on points in a rematch in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. The 30-year-old previously beat Whyte, who was 31, in 2015. The WBO said Joshua must now face mandatory challenger Alexander Usyk, while IBF equivalent Kubrat Pulev is another potential next opponent. But BBC boxing correspondent Mike Costello, boxing expert Steve Bonds, and former super middleweight champion Richie Woodhull all said on the 5 Live boxing podcast that a rematch against Whyte might be Joshua's first fight in 2020. And that's it on sports at this hour, and also our news roundup of events. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please do join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and have yourselves a great day.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way day inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time. Hello world and welcome to the biggest entertainment show on the planet, where we analyze and dissect the trending entertainment stories. This is Plus TV Africa. My name is Ifeoluwa Oshukeye, and I've got my co-anchors with me, the well-informed Ewa Ritu and the man who speaks from experience, Benny Hack. With these two, I don't think we can go wrong. What's good, y'all?
Oh, wow, I love that.
The man who speaks from experience.
Yeah.
You make me feel like a Methuselah. Like I've been living like 101 years.
But most times you speak from experience. You always have something. We're talking about this.
I'm a student of life, man. I mean,
yeah,
I've been through enough to.
Life.
Yeah, I'm a student of life. So.
If I'm really this morning.
Oh yeah. I'm on something sweet. Okay. Now that's called love. In case you're wondering, it's not a substance. It's just called love.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Love in itself is a substance.
All right. So first off, we have a bad news. As 21-year-old rapper Juice WRLD is dead. Reports reaching us states that the rapper died after suffering a seizure at the Chicago's Midway Airport on Sunday morning. The cause of death is still unknown, but it would be recalled that the rapper is rapped about not making it past 21 in his legendary song Legends. Now that's deep, because we have cases of people like Dagreen and other rappers like the XXXTentacion is also one of them, who has always rapped about him dying early and these things happen. So I don't know if this is a coincidence or there's just something about putting certain things in your lyrics that actually comes back to bite you in the
I think it's just
backside.
about life generally. What you think and what you say. I mean,
there's power in the tongue.
Yeah, there's power in the tongue, but I feel like it's just if your mind is up to something, I don't know, God works with the mind somehow, or the mind just works in a way that if you wish for something, that's why you see that you probably wish to get something, and if you're really, how do I put it? If you really want that thing and you talk about it always, trust me, it will happen. Somehow, some sort, it would just happen.
The superstitious side of me can help to say that we've had stories of people saying that they sold their soul to the devil so that they can be successful.
I mean, that's what's trending about this story.
Yeah, because I went on Twitter and I saw a lot of things saying that, oh, he sold the soul to the devil, saying that after 21, as long as he's gotten his fame and all of that, that it's going to be all right. Because they signed a $3 million deal with Interscope Records for for a while. So this is really saddening because I'm a big fan of, especially starting from Lucid Dreams, All Girls Are the Same, they're legends because I can actually relate to those songs and I think it inspired a lot of people out there. So before we even go on, I'd like us to have a 30 seconds of silence for Juice WRLD. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
So,
okay, for me, I think we should start paying attention to people's lyrics. They release the songs here, and then it helps you pull through whatever you're going through. But the question is, the person that puts out the song, how does that person feel? What if that is truly what that person feels, but everybody thinks that it's just somebody in the studio that's just singing something for us to listen to and enjoy? We need to start paying attention to people's lyrics, what they are saying, how their life is. I mean, just as somebody that he has always talked about is depression, him trying to get out of depression, how everybody around him, especially his girlfriend,
and now the drugs
wants him,
escape routes for him.
And everybody around me has always wanted him to stop doing drugs. And I'm just thinking, I know one of the withdrawal symptoms for Lane is seizure. So maybe it's him trying to stop, and then this happened.
No, there are a lot of
we never can
drugs that can lead to seizure, so I don't think we should just focus on Lane.
No,
cocaine
that's what he talks about
seizure.
most of the time in his music. He talks about Lane.
It talks about cocaine too,
even
because it talks about his marijuana being laced with cocaine in most of his tracks as well.
Yeah, but one thing that I'm sure of is even people around him, what people have been saying is the Lane thing. That's like one of his sweetest addiction. And he sings about how he puts him in one particular mood and he just forgets about his pain and all of that. But everybody needs to understand that what drug would do to you is it will take away the pain for a moment, then kill you and leave everybody around you in pain.
All right, so Benny, let's quickly get your take before we move on to the next story.
Novocaine for the pain. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD. He's pretty too young, 21. He didn't hide his addiction to mind-altering substance. He was very vocal about it. It wasn't in the dark about that. You know, what makes this feel some type of way about it is that, like she rightly said, people don't pay attention to lyrics. You know, songs, music is spiritual.
An expression of what you feel inside.
You know, music is so spiritual that it comes from a very spiritual place. The content of music, again, plays a very vital role. You know, music has the ability to influence you if you listen to it over time. Whatever that music is saying, the content of that music is saying, you just find yourself, if it's so much about sex, drug addiction, you find yourself doing it. There was a research that was done sometimes in the 80s.
You're shaking the Weekend stable right now.
That's it. Yeah, there's a research that was done sometimes in the mid-80s when heavy metal became the in thing. And they realized that most people who listen to heavy metal ended up killing themselves, committing suicide, or just, you know, they ended up so badly. It was the content, the lyrics of those music. Now, when Lucid Dreams came out, I was there's something pretty deep and dark about the song. You know, then the video threw more light into it. That was a young man who was disturbed. You know, whether people were paying attention to it or not at that point in time is what I don't know. But Juicy WRLD had issues.
Yeah.
He was fighting demons. Probably people knew about or probably people didn't know about. And the end result...
He was vocal about it as well.
The end result is what happened. Whether it was the aftermath of lean or drug, the point is we lost a young man at the age of 21.
A young legend, because...
You know, and I feel it's total bollocks for people to come and tell me that he sold his soul to the devil for fame. We'll all want that fame.
They said the same thing about that Green.
We all want that fame and riches, and so if it's that easy to sell your soul, then a whole lot of people will have sold their souls.
Well, a lot of people are smart.
We actually have a lot of young stars that are dead now, and the same story came out that they sold their soul to the devil.
People have their addictions, and your addiction is your devil. All right? I mean, whatever that addiction is giving you as a means of satisfaction, there's an ultimate price you need to pay for it.
Sure.
Let's not forget Amy Winehouse, talented, brilliant performer.
Sure.
A demon was her addiction to cocaine.
Michael Jackson.
That was our devil. Don't you get it? That was our soul selling her soul to that. You know, for whatever comfort, pleasure she was getting from cocaine, that was our selling her soul over to that. So I don't know if there's really a figurine. You know, that people go to the devil and say, I'm going to sell my soul for fame and riches. But It's pretty what it is. So people should be very conscious of what they listen to by way of music. Your life gravitates to your predominant thoughts.
True that, and well said. Your life gravitates to your predominant thoughts. So think wisely, think positive, and then maybe your life will gravitate towards the positive and the wise part of your life. But we have to move on to the next story. Ghanaian celebrities are not happy with Cardi B. Guess the American singer won't be leaving Ghana with a Ghanaian name. Well, Cardi B, who shut down Lagos, touched down Ghana on the 8th of December, and according to celebrities out there who were outraged by Cardi B not seeing them during a scheduled meet and greet with them, but was having kebab and browned them, like they say in Ghana. Oops.
Their scheduled meet and greet, because she didn't know she had any meet and greet.
Yeah, but so it was scheduled by the organizers of people bringing, so it's still a schedule. The fact that it was not communicated to Cardi B wisely, somebody has to take responsibility for that, because you don't pull out a lot of celebrities saying that you have a meet and greet with Cardi B at so time, and then she's not available.
Let's put it on the organizers, not her.
Yeah, no, I'm not putting it on her. I'm putting it on the organizers who called out these other celebrities and said, okay, you guys will be having a meet and greet, but you didn't go through maybe you didn't even gain the right access to Cardi B for her to even be informed about that. And then right now, a lot of celebrities are coming out. I saw, is it Afia Schwarzenegger saying that, insulting her, calling her mother all kinds of names.
Cardi B's mother?
Yeah.
What does a mom got to do with
Schwarzenegger said she was using a lot of the F words, saying your mother, this, that whenever she goes to weddings, she gets about $10,000, that all these other celebrities in Ghana that think they can wait for Cardi B, that she's Afia, and then, and somebody else came out, I can't remember who she said she was, Wendy Shea, and then I saw Nigerians come, but I don't want us to make this thing a Ghanaian Nigerian war, because at the end of the day, Cardi B has released a statement saying that she was not even informed about this. And a lot of you saw me by the poolside having my kebab. Now, I'm thinking, if this was Nigeria and a Burna Boy was scheduled, or a Juliet Ibrahim was scheduled to have a meet and greet, she'd probably walk up like, hey, hi, I'm this person, I'm this, I'm that. Are you aware that there are a lot of celebrities waiting for you? Cardi was like, nobody walked up to her, but instead, you guys decided to speak behind the back and say all of these things. That somebody could have just walked up to her, that she's a free-spirited person and all of that, but nobody did that. So I think this also adds, I think the Ghanaian celebrities have a lot to do, because they need to do better. Because if this was Nigeria, the amount of love. So you guys are waiting because, okay, there's a meet and greet. We should just lay back. She'll come and meet us. No, that's not how it works. She's Cardi B. Do you understand?
She had an itinerary before leaving for Ghana. And she definitely had an itinerary while in Ghana. There are details around her, what she was going to Ghana to do. And if this so-called celebrities, I was actually thinking to a media man who just wanted a press time with her. So I don't think people in the likes of Yvonne Nelson, Jackie Appiah would want to meet with Cardi, and they wouldn't have the opportunity to meet with Cardi. And again, let's get it straight. She's coming from a place of where professionalism is key. Right? Artists in the like of Cardi B have details around her. And so if there was actually supposed to be a meet and greet or press briefing, I don't think they'll violate that. So like she would at least say, let's blame it on the organizers. So maybe there was a miscommunication, or maybe there was no communication. I'm not a big fan of Cardi B, but so far, the love she's shown since she's been in Nigeria made me realize, she's such a cool, humble person.
I became a fan.
And then she fits into everything, everywhere she was. Yeah. She just blended like there's no new person.
There's really no air around her, from what I can see. She's just been alive.
And then you can tell that she's not even like the arrogant person, because everybody she met in Nigeria, she tagged them and put them on a story.
And as soon as she saw the video of these celebrities ranting and saying all sort of things, she addressed it. She still didn't see it as a serious thing, and then she would say, no, I'm not seeing that. She came down.
I think we're skipping something here, because she also said, in a story she was like Ghanaians in capital letter. Then she now said, no wonder my stomach started acting up. So this takes us back to the fetish side of Ghanaians again. Like, she's making it look like it's a spiritual attack. And I'm like, so Kadi also believes in spiritual attack?
Kadi, I just realized Kadi is so informed. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet. There was somebody in South Africa that tweeted and said, oh, so Kadi came to Africa. And in Nigeria, not South Africa. Then she responded like, that should be the closing tweet for 2019. And like, you know what? They gave me, when I came, they gave me jollof rice. But if I was to come to you guys, you would have given me AIDS. I'm like, damn.
That was savage.
That's a closing... She did that research before coming.
That's a closing tweet for 2019. I mean, the savage of them all. So I don't think there's an issue.
It's not.
It's really not an issue. It's really not an issue.
And a lot of people are saying that, okay, this lady came to Nigeria, no issues, everybody was fine. She blended. She went to the motherless baby zone. She went to the orphanage. She did a lot of things.
Went to a departmental store, bought stuff for people.
A lot of things that other celebrities that have come to Nigeria or Africa, not even Nigeria, haven't even done. But she did all of these things, and she's a free-spirited person. So
have done that.
No, that I've been to Nigeria. Yeah, of course. But you know what? I don't think any celebrity has been to Nigeria and promoted Nigeria as much as Cardi B did when she was in Nigeria.
Right.
Do you understand? No celebrity.
Right.
We can go back history, and then you'll find out that no celebrity from America or any other part of the world has celebrated or spoken so well about Nigeria like Cardi B did. So big shout out to her for doing that. So this is not a Ghanaian, because I can see the Ghanaians saying that, okay, this Nigerians, No, it's not a Ghanaian-Nigerian war. We're not even doing that.
When they have issues here, I think they should start addressing it to themselves and stop dragging Nigeria into it, because most of their celebrities came out and said, this can never happen in Nigeria. They carry their own. Just address your people. Tell them to respect you or do whatever you want them to do. Stop dragging Nigeria into it, because at the end of the day, when the whole thing gets too serious, it's Nigeria that will take the blame, because they'll be like, Nigeria fighting for something.
Enough on Chioma B. Well, I was hoping you get Nana B when you leave Ghana, but Nana is definitely not coming up. So it's time for a break, but we still have more stories to discuss. So don't go anywhere and stay glued to your screen, as we'll be right back.
Hello, beautiful people. I go by the name Black Bassi, and I am an actor and a musician. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Moving on, Davido's album is greater than Wizkid's new EP, Not Boy Right. Okay, so we're behind the scene, and Beniak has a lot to say about this one. So first off, I think you should start with your question.
Yeah, who's Not Boy?
Not Boy. Not Boy is that beta artist, that beta producer. I'm so sorry. You know I don't know how to mince my words on this one. Is that beta producer that said Wizkid didn't give him accolades for some tracks and this and that.
There are many producers Wizkid never gave accolades to. So who's Not Boy again? What role did he play?
No. Hold on.
Hold up. Yeah.
Before you continue.
Yes.
Don't say that because Wizkid don't give other
No, I'm not saying it is right.
Yeah.
no. Give us.
You
that's what I'm
sounded
saying.
like you're saying it's right.
No, I'm not saying it's right.
Good.
And
Now,
a lot of people, I mean, Wizkid.
If you've worked with somebody, or if anybody has done something for you, they deserve to get the credit.
Was it
That's
free? And what if I paid for it? Do I still owe you to give you credit?
Well, he's saying
You don't know their
Then
contract. he
said he didn't get the money, and then
that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know their contract.
Wizkid,
Don't go into that.
So
Let's just
he
focus
gave
on this.
He gave whatever it is to give to Wizkid for free. Wizkid
No, he
used
said
it
he
for free.
gave it to him, and then there was supposed to be a contract. And every time he asked for his money,
this is my
Wizkid
point,
would
right?
threaten him and say.
He came out to say a lot of
he
things
said
when this
Wizkid
happened. It
threatened
was
him with
like
a gun.
serious,
He also said he gave the accolade to Killer Tunes for which of the songs now? Was it I think Joro. Yeah. He said they gave the accolades to Killer Tunes for Joro. Meanwhile, he produced Joro. He's saying that he has even the raw files to prove that he was the one who produced it. But they were having a beef, so I think Wizkid just figured, go on.
Okay, my point is, let's just say this statement here is coming from the place of beef. But now, let's not try to deliberate if it is right to give people their accolades or not. It is just wrong.
But we've not heard from
What
Wizkid,
is wrong?
you
It's
know.
wrong. You will never hear
Sweetheart,
from Wizkid.
sweetheart, hold on,
Right
sweetheart,
now, we
hold
know
on.
most people that keep
Sweetheart.
quiet is because they are wrong.
We've not heard from Wizkid. All we've heard from is from Northside. Is that his name?
Not boy.
Not boy.
Not
He's in
boy.
a not side.
All we have is Not Boy's story. There are three sides to every story. Not Boy's, Wizkid, and then the absolute truth. So we just can't conclude right now. So if there's been all of that you guys said before, then this tweet is coming from a place of animosity. He's bitter. He's not happy.
And then I would think...
Not until we hear from Wizkid, I'm just going to take this tweet as a slap on the wrist. That's what I'm going to take it as.
Okay, and then for someone who you would think would know a lot about music, it sounded so uninformed because if you're talking about somebody's
He was
album...
coming from a place of bitterness and not being happy.
No,
As what criteria? You said Giant of Africa, good
and then
time. It's better than...
I want
Do you know what
to point
Wizkid
out-
did? Wizkid put a Beyonce on everybody. Nobody knew there was an EP coming out.
Do you understand?
Nobody knew.
There was no publicity for that
7-track EP. And I'm sorry, ma'am. Over the weekend, my friend and I were driving on the road for most of the time.
And you were jamming to that, right?
I'm like, what?
Okay, well, I've not listened to the EP, but
You
like
gotta
you
listen
said, you
to
know,
it,
this has to do with this is like an opinion issue.
Yes.
The fact that you like it
No,
does
but
not
based
mean
on
everybody
what?
will like it.
It's got to
The
be an
fact that-
informed opinion, right?
No,
He
hold
just
on.
said, listen, he just said, those two albums are better than this album, based on...
I mean, that's what a lot of people tweet when they have... because it's him now, you don't expect him to give you a whole essay why he thinks.
He's a music producer. He should give... That's the reason why he should give me...
You can always tweet and reply him that reasons. I'm sure a lot of people have probably tweeted and he has given his reason.
Hold up. Now, this is an EP. It's not Wizkid's album. And this is volume 1. We're expecting volume 2. Do you understand? Now, secondly, Davido said he has worked on the album for 7 years. Now, if you ask me, what Wizkid job is feel-good music? This is a typical Wizkid sound. He didn't deviate from his sound. He didn't try to do extra. Do you understand? He just dropped
Sound Man Volume 1.
Sound Man, like he just dropped feel-good music.
It featured music.
Nobody said that.
No.
Now you're comparing, baby.
You said it like Davido has been working on this album for 7 years.
It's an album. It is premeditated. He worked with a lot of people. He had a lot of co-writers. He had a lot. Now, this is just Wizkid showing you that, look, the fact that I haven't dropped an album doesn't mean I've not been working. I have songs.
Exactly. Let me ask Ewa a few questions. Did you know there was an EP coming out from Wizkid?
No, I can't be...
Even on that day, a lot of people didn't know.
Actually.
Okay.
No, she's a big Davido fan,
I know.
so this is expected.
I like Davido.
I love Davido.
But I'm just saying, for someone who said...
I'm just saying, like, I
for
can't
someone who calls himself a music producer and just flagrantly just said what he said...
On what basis? On what grounds? Why do you think this is album? Very ignorant. Very.
Not boy, give us the reason. Not boy
no,
saying
we don't
what
have
he feels
to.
about
We don't have to tweet and
Is he
not boy.
legendary?
I think.
Is he Sass?
Not boy.
SARS is not even his
He did
mate.
your soccer.
Eh?
He did soccer. So people need to admit that and be happy.
Wizkid has worked with a lot of other great producers that have done greater songs for Wizkid apart from Soccer.
Soccer was a big deal, you know.
Soccer was featuring Wizkid. It is Terry, Cizamili, and Wizkid, Starboy. Do you understand?
But
it is
Soccer,
not a Wizkid
Soccer
soul
is a great song. Yes or no?
Do you understand? It is
Soccer's
a great
beat
song.
was great.
But
Yes or no?
All right, guys, can we move on now?
Okay.
Not boy.
Not boy.
Not boy. Oh, not
squash your beef with,
not boy,
with
right?
Wizkid and stop being so bitter. That's all I have to say to you. Me, I'm not even.
His beef. That's his
Go
choice.
listen to that soundtrack.
Well,
you will love
it will soon come out like Sam Clef and say the stupidest thing is done on social media is fighting Wizkid.
It's not
yeah.
Sam Clef.
All right, so we need to move on to the next story. Mario Kron has revealed to a fan that he goes around with the police because of the police and not thieves. And this is so worrisome because if we live in a country where we're scared of the people who should be protecting us and having our values at heart, and then instead we're moving with them so that we can be safe, it's just very, very crazy. And you see a lot of celebrities out there moving with escorts, you know, sirens blazing and all of that. And really, they do all of this because once the police see them, they profile them because of their dress code. Most of them have dreadlocks, they're wearing earrings, they have tattoos, and this is what it takes for you to be shot in Lagos. I'm telling you, that's just simple. So this is really saddening, and I think we should do better. I think the law enforcement agency should do better in Nigeria.
You know, when I saw this tweet from Mayor Kung, I had a moment to reflect and actually think about the tweet. As much as it sounded kind of funny and loose, but I actually thought about it really like, he's so right.
I mean,
You know,
the chances of you getting robbed is really low.
I need to be protected. Because sometimes I ask myself, why do they move around with so much military and security details? Like, it's not necessary. Which human being is about to rip you off? Yes, there are places they can go to, they can get mobbed. But, you know, this drew a different light to me that it's possible because just imagine a young man driving his Mercedes-Benz, which is one of the criteria for you to be tagged a Yahoo boy. Just have a good Mercedes-Benz you're driving. And then...
Just have a laptop.
That's it. Then have dreads on you. You're prime suspect. You know, I think we should think about it. We should think about what Mayor Kun said. I move around with the police. Not because of thieves, but because of the police.
Yeah, because...
Every time I'm approaching a checkpoint and maybe the police in front of me, immediately I begin to think of every possibility. Not because there's anything on me, but like, you know, at that moment, it's a whole lot of emotions that anything could just go wrong here. And sometimes they would even stop you and tell you to come down, we're here for search. And they start going into the car. You're also putting an eye on them to be sure they don't want to throw anything in the car to implicate you, which has happened a few times to people. You know, they begin to really wonder, are they here to actually serve and protect me or to implicate me? You know, and that all it takes for me to go behind bars is for them to just plant something and say they found it on me. And that is it. Everybody will believe the story that, yes, it was found on him. So the police, our Nigerian force, the police force needs a total reform. And so if a celebrity in the likes of Mayor Kung could say this, then it shouldn't be taken lightly.
Yeah.
The entire NPF should look into this tweet and do something about it. It's time for the Nigerian police to be reformed. Reformation now. Hashtag reformation now, the Nigerian police.
Hashtag reformation now, not revolution now.
No, reformation now.
Reformation now.
Hashtag reformation now.
Not revolution. Before they will say they know DSS, please. So
if I didn't spell it.
REFORMATYON.
Big difference.
Reformation now, not revolution now.
Yeah.
And that's how we draw the curtains on this episode of Tea Time. Thank you for watching. And remember, you can catch up on this episode and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on Alta TV and in London on Ben Television. Big shout out to my co-anchors Ewaritu and Beniak for making this what the wow. And the entire production team. I remain your favorite host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye, saying thank you for watching. Peace.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright. I really like it.
I can still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing this.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
All right, country people, greet on the top this 0 o'clock. When soon to join us for News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa. This is not the three I want Sama given my name, now Promise Nero. Let's say Vice President Yemi Osinbajo go on Sunday enter the city of Abu Dhabi inside the United Arab Emirates UAE. Osinbajo talk man Laolo Akande for one Yanis inside Abuja. He said the Vice President will deliver the keynote Yanis for the Sixth Assembly of the Forum to promote peace for Muslim societies on Monday inside Abu Dhabi. The Vice President go yarn for waiting religious get to promote how people take the cool temper from possibility to necessity them. Osinbajo will still meet with Sheikh Mohammed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the UAE Armed Forces on Monday for the Presidential Palace inside Abu Dhabi. Both Oga go yarn matter on how to continue to expand diplomatic and economic relationship between Nigeria and the UAE. They say the federal government don't throw claim say the National Assembly don't be rubber stamp a legislature as it concern working relationship with the executive. The Special Assistant Media and Publicity to President Muhammad Buhari throw this yarn for the meeting between the lawmakers and the House of Representatives press corps. She will say they in line with the interest of the country for both arms of government to work together so that they fit finish work for the worker of the federal government.
It's not all about free speech. For instance, is there a content in that bill that prevents social media harm? I've seen what the British Parliament is doing, for instance. that social media is being held accountable for what is called social media addiction among children. Nigerians should please not be embarrassed that we have a parliament that is working hand in hand with the executive, because that is what we voted them to do.
As a responsible legislature, that there's need for us to reorder the period during which we consider the budget and pass it. And that's why we work together as a team in the interest of the nation.
In respect of the social media's laws and hate speech bill, to me, my constituency is against it, and I believe that the executive should see it in that light.
Why domicile the issue of insecurity only to the federal government? And it is our own desire and as legislators that we should look into the issue, and we are looking into the issue of insecurity. And our desire is that we should have state police, and a lot of legislators, and they will agree with me, that if we have state police and community policing, it's going to give confidence in the system.
Our desire is to provide accurate, objective, and informed
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
$500 they collect them.
no talk.
They go beat you. Now 2005 when they pay.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way dey inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every go enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
They say the president don't throw away the matter of the media when say concerned he talk. The DSS operative on Friday rearrest Omoyele Sowore when they say be the Oga of the Revolution Now movement just 24 hours after they release him for the order of the court. The DSS say they don't cause any kasala for the court and said the service not do any waka to arrest Sowore inside the court. Say now his supporters do the waka to bring the service name put for Sansan. Falana say not be say the DSS officials just only beg for inside the court and say they and I be say the Yanis when say the presidency do for Sowore no follow. The DSS action don't bring plenty talk because of the rearrest of Omolele Sowore. The United States don't shook mouth for the rearrest, and the one when we say that they lock Sowore. The U.S. Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor for one tweet on Saturday evening, Sama Betayan gave the federal government to respect the rule of law, judicial independence, political and media freedom, say they stand for the key of democracy. The federal government go later today put mouth for the request when the vice chancellors for some federal universities do to extend the enrollment of lecturers for the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System, the IPPIS enrollment, when we start on November 25th and on December 7th. Numbers when they get from the IPPIS office on Friday, it shows say they don't enroll about 39,160 university lecturers for 27 universities enter the payroll platform. The federal government don't bring one plan to develop one waka to counter the use of chemical, nuclear, and explosive weapons when say terrorist group, when say that they call Boko Haram and the Islamic State for West Africa province, ISWAP, they do. They say they get some waka when say Boko Haram take use explosive like ammonium nitrate to make improvised explosive devices, IED, for Niger. And the one when say that they lost radioactive materials by oil prospecting companies for the Niger Delta. They say never tell when we say one team of nuclear sabi people from China, United Kingdom, and Norway and others codedly command the Niger Research Reactor 1 from the Ahmadu Bello University, Abu Zaria, inside Kaduna State. Although set up for Abu when we say the China do for research purpose, he say it concern the same materials when we say the reactor/uranium, when we say they used to do nuclear power plant, when we say they consider say it is very attractive to terrorists. The nuclear sabi person in charge of the evacuation does say they will use the materials from the reactor to prepare one dirty bomb from the terrorist body when say they want use for soft target especially. But the National Security Strategy NSS, when Oga President Muhammadu Buhari launched inside Abuja last week, it talk of say they want to safe, secure, and authorized usage of those kind of weapons as a matter of national security, when we say go need bonding capacity and national body. They say the talk man today, Brimo, talk on Sunday, they say Lagos State House of Assembly not get any plan to stop the state pension law to permit the before governors and other public office holders to receive pensions. Brimo, when we say the Shemu House Committee for Informate and Strategy, he said Lagos Assembly not go the way of the Zamfara Assembly, when we say they just stop pension law for their before governors. One federal high court inside Lagos don't order the federal government make them recover pension when we say they take from before governors and when we say they don't serve as ministers and members of the National Assembly as for now. The court stated that Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, make it challenge the legality of state pension laws when we say they permit the before governors and other before public officials to receive that kind of pension. Damn. Bible call for the court really handle when we say they take order Malami to take sharp legal waka for the stopping of the state laws when we say permit the before governors to enjoy governors' salary them as then they draw normal salaries and allowance for their new political office them. He said the separation of powers when we say they put for the constitution, he empowered the legislature to make laws, the executive to make the law work, and the judiciary to interpret the laws. They say people when we say they can't vote for Adamawa State Council election not plenty and they one kind. The election, when we say that they vote the council, Shemu, and councillors for the 21 local government areas of the state start late for Yola and the whole area as it can clear say voters not get ginger to come vote. They stop moto, make them no waka, but to Okada people, they no grill as they see they do their waka to do their business.
My people just come and vote wisely. Yeah. No any violence or any this thing. Successfully and going normal to their very places.
So far, so good. It's just that the turnout is a bit low compared to the turnout during the presidential and national election, National Assembly election, and also the gubernatorial election. Is far low compared to that. But Alhamdulillah, I think it's peaceful.
This is the one of best election I witnessed in my life because it is an election that has started without any crisis, without violence from any of the party. Already the election officers came in time. At the same time, the security personnel they also came in time. The election was started in time. There's no any fault, violence or crisis.
So it moves smoothly without any fighting or accusing other parties.
They say the joint body of local government marriage registrars don't call for more touchlighting of the palaver when we say concern registration of marriage them when we say local government councils that they do. The president of the joint body, Deji, so okay, as the yarn with talk men for one, we no go grey waka inside Abuja. When say they say some accused give the Ministry of Interior say that they do begin as they want Colombia power. When say they put on local government councils to empower them to do marriage waka as the constitution take put time. Sekeye say the later say the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Georgina Ehuria Idu. When say that it's time for me to give embassies for the country, may they not look marriage certificate from local councils, it dey illegal. When say be breach of constitution and one abuse of due process.
An arm of federal government is what we are having issues with, and that is the Ministry of Interior. Because they want to continue with the illegality, and we sworn to uphold the sanctity of Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended. That is what we stand for. I want to believe the present government, their mantra is basically on two major things: anti-corruption and upholding of rule of law. And the president of the country will not sit aloof and allow a segment of his government to erode the powers of other tiers, because local government is the third tier of the government. The sanctity of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended must be protected by the federal government, especially the president. We are calling on the president to please look into it and salvage a ugly week, because this thing has really caused a lot of embarrassment to our people. Some members
for inside the Mauritanian coast as a last Wednesday as they do work off one illegal migration. They say the Palava is one of the deadliest disasters this year among people when say that they do the work out to Europe. The boat when come up from Gambia 1 week early, it only carry at least 150 people when we say women and picking them join. And they say they don't see two people when we say that they are alive 2 days after one 6-story building first scatter for the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Authorities say the building first scattered on Friday, and it killed at least 5 people, injured 31 others, and 24 people they miss. When we say they see the 2 survivors on Sunday morning, some crowd when we say that they look, they happy, they clap and too. Nairobi Police Chief Philip Ndolo is said the rescue of 1 man and 1 woman don't ginger the emergency workers to get hope. When say they want to see the other survivors, and he said the 2 they for stable condition for hospital. All right, the next one, now our foreign news. Let's say official talk say one big fire don't happen for one bag factory inside the Indian capital Delhi, where I'm say key for the 3 workers. The fire come out from the 4-story building for the city headquarters early on Sunday morning. They say like 100 people they sleep inside the factory when we say that they do school bags. When we say the fire takes start, and they don't save more than 60 people as they hot. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called the fire say now wire, and the throw away battalion is give people when we say it affect. Police say one volcano don't happen for New Zealand with about 50 people for the area when we say they not take see some of them. They say they see tourists as they walk inside the rim of the White Island, create a just movement before the palaver. Police say at least one of those people when we say they say from the island volcano injured well. White Island or Wakari, a day off the coast of plenty tours when we say that they happen for days and scenic flights when we say they available. The FBI say that they treat Friday deadly gbege when we say happen for Florida Navy base as terrorist gbege. The Saudi gunman when we say they train for the Pensacola site, a key 3 sailors before or it gets collabo with one joint body. She said they don't question other Saudi students, but they don't arrest them. They put them for the base and they cooperate with investigators. Meanwhile, they said the victims of the gbege are Joshua Caleb Watson, when be 23 years, Mohammed Sameh Haitam, when be 19 years, and Cameron Scott Waters, when be 21 years. The U.S. Navy said the sailors should say they get mind even as they face the palaver. All right, the next one, now our business news. And on to business, they say Saturday, Wednesday, be the 7th of December, it mark another waka for the history of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as the chamber put their third woman president for their 131 years when they don't day. They do one better group for the co-hotels and suites to honor the new president of the chamber, Mrs. Toki Mobogunje. Toki, when we say we want to sit down as the president for the next 2 years, he talk as body takes sweet time and say na honor and challenge. The new president for acceptance speech, he play say he will continue to dedicate herself to the service of the LCCI to see the chamber get their position as leading private sector advocacy joint body for the Nigeria and the flagship of the Chamber of Commerce movement for the country. She promised she could do better work as the 21st century business environment and the fourth industrial revolution take one turn. The African Development Bank don't agree say they go collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to promote the special agri-industrial processing zones, where they say they want to increase food production capacity and promote local, regional and international trade. This one come after they do one better waka for the 2-day farm to fork better talk, where they say they do inside Ilorin. They call the waka say they commode the economic palaver to get prosperous commodity and agribusiness. They better waka now to give long-term solution to the challenge of when the agricultural sector they face inside Nigeria. They talk say women and youth are ogbonge people to agricultural ecosystem. And they still say actors and players for the agri-industry agree say the youth need to join hand for the agri-business. Still ahead on Top Plus TV Africa News, now our roundup for entertainment and sports with the show back. And on to entertainment, they say they don't crown Miss South Africa as Miss Universe on Sunday for the Atlanta after one group when they do about woman empowerment. Zozibini Tunzi, 26, he finished first ahead of the Puerto Rican and Mexican finalists for one televised group when the American comic turned TV personality Steve Harvey, he do. Television personalities Vanessa Lashy and Olivia Cupo, he served as backstage talk person. And one panel of 7 women when say they ginger the winner, then they for background. They clap for Tunzi for a closing speech when we say be one new segment of the competite. When we say she take it and say a one empower young women to get better mind. Tunzi beat more than 19 contestants from Obodo the world for the 68th installment of Miss Universe. When we say they do for Atlanta inside Tyler Perry Studios.
The new Miss Universe is South Africa.
All right, so that one of entertainment. The next one, now for sport. And on to sport, they said the BBC Radio 5 live boxing team talks Ogbonge world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua if he'd face in British fighter Dillian White next. Joshua reclaiming 3 world titles as he beat Andy Ruiz Jr. on point for one rematch inside Saudi Arabia on Saturday. The 30-year-old don't beat White 31 for 2015. The WBO say Joshua must face Alexander Usyk, while IBF equivalent Kubrat Pulev now another Ogbonge person when say be next opponent. But BBC boxing talk person Mike Costello, boxing sabi person Steve Barnes, and before super middleweight champion Richard Woodhall, he don't talk for the 5 Live Boxing podcast say the rematch against White if it be Joshua first fight for 2020. All right, now what we'll get from our top 0 o'clock for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. For better and plenty information, Mona follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And it will make sense when I subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. You will still summon and plenty other to read them as time they go. My name, na Promise Nero. And I thank our website to join us. Well done.
Hi friends, it's been a while. Welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. Today's episode is tailored for individuals who intend moving up the career ladder. To speak on this very essential topic is Chika Uwaze, a human resource expert. Chika holds a master's degree in strategic human capital management from Georgetown University. I'm sure she would not mind me calling her the career queen. Stay tuned, guys. Hi Chika, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I've been waiting for you to come join me at some point. Thank you so much for taking out time. Yeah, so I know that you were accepted in virtually all, the companies that you applied to right out of college. It's not something that is very common, in our world of today. Was it because you had some kind of intellectual fecundity, or what exactly was it? What was the spark?
I would say I'm a researcher. That's always been my core, is researching everything I do. And so when I find a company, what I've realized is that it's not about simply just the resume, it's about how you present yourself. So I actually recently shared on my Instagram how I got my first job. I researched where I wanted to work, the Rosa Whitaker Group. She's an amazing woman. She's done work with Bill Clinton, and she's doing a lot of work on Africa. And I was like, oh, I have to work at this type of company. And I did research on her, and I found out she's in the same women's club as I am. We're both in the same sorority. And so I found a coffee tea mug that's very, it has like specific roses that's specific to our women's club. I put the resume in there and I shipped it off to her.
Like that?
Yes.
In the mug?
Yes, in the mug. And then, of course, a week later, her team reached out to me. It's like, who is this girl who sent me this resume in a coffee mug? And I got the interview, and I actually got to interview with her personally. And then after a week, she called me back saying that she's offered me a position. So I really went out of my way to get my first job. And so it's always been like that, not as extreme, but I've always taken the time to research the company, who's the CEO, who's the key stakeholders, and just finding a way to connect with them and present myself in front of them.
All right, so what exactly would you say global companies like that look out for when recruiting?
Yeah, so I would say a couple of things. I think a couple of years ago, people really cared about where you went to school, and I think that somewhat plays into it. But to be honest, it's about skill set, and we get a lot of resumes because I've been a recruiter for 10 years, so we get hundreds of resumes. And we only have 10 seconds on each resume. And so
10 seconds?
10 seconds normally, yeah. You normally just quickly glance and say, okay, do they have everything? And number one, if you don't have the keywords, if you don't have specific keywords they're looking for, let's say we're looking for a developer, if we don't see full stack, PHP, .NET, these are very specific coding language to the job. A lot of people glance over that, and then they spend too much time talking about, I did this task, I did this task. They don't get really into the results. Because at the end of the day, a company is looking at, okay, I hired this person, how are they going to help my company grow? And so if you're not really showcasing that on your resume, then you're just going to be in the pile with everyone else. So it's really just about taking time to show, you should hire me because I'm the best person for the job. And it's really looking or taking a step further than most applicants.
So it's basically not just about, trying to reduce the unemployment rate, but you also need to be a value-adding person in the company.
Yes.
Oh, true. And then I know that you also, review resumes. What is that one mistake or a lot of mistakes you think a lot of job seekers, have every time?
I see lots of mistakes. Let me just say the top three I see. Okay. Number one, resumes are way too long. I get resumes all the time that are like 3, 5, 6 pages of, they're not talking about anything. They're just talking. And I'm like, what is this? What are you?
There's no punchline.
There's no punchline, yeah. And the truth is, I said this before, if you are not a PhD candidate or have received a PhD, your resume should never be longer than 2 pages. So that's mistake number one, too long. 2, typos. I mean, I will see different tenses on your resume. I would see dots, commas, different font sizes. I mean, I've seen it all. So just...
Is there like an ideal font size or an ideal, text?
I would say a 10.5, 11 points is pretty good. 12 is the largest you want to go. And I would say like the basics, so Times New Roman, Calibri, Tahoma, those are very basic fonts that don't look too crazy. And then I would say the last mistake is lack of customization. And so we were talking about this earlier, where people just send a resume that has nothing to do with the job description. It's like, I just want that job. That's
what kind of job do you want? Anything. I'm fine with anything. I don't have a job right now.
Just give me the job. And all the time, sometimes I follow up with the candidate. I'm like, do you actually have the skill for this job? And they're like, no, but I just think I can do it. No, I don't want to hire someone that says they can do it. I want to know you can do it. Yeah, so that's the top 3 mistakes I see.
All right, so sometimes some people say, well, I got the job now. I'm only going to do what was in my, what's it called now? You're given like your job description, and then you're saying you're not going to move either above or beneath your job description. What's your take on that?
I think you're going to be stagnant. So you may not be doing anything that will get you fired. But at the same time, if you're looking for a promotion, I think everybody every year should be looking for an increase in salary. So if you now come to the boss and say, oh, I want an increase in salary, they're going to be like, what did you do? What did you do to wow me or to go above and beyond? A lot of millennials, I think, are moving faster into managerial roles. But if you don't position yourself to do that, then no, you're never going to be promoted, or it's going to be hard for you to switch out to a different company.
So what are those things you would say you would encourage that people do in order to, position themselves for things like that?
I would just say being proactive. I think a lot of people are waiting for their manager to tell them what to do or how to do it. And I think it's about listening to what your manager is saying or needs, being in tune with the company's goals. So, for example, the company's like, we want to grow 10%. Figure out how you are part of that. Even if you're in HR, maybe you're not directly bringing in revenue, figure out, is it hiring better people? Is it training the current staff? There's so many ways that you can add value to the bottom line. So it's about aligning with your manager's needs and then aligning with the overall company needs.
So what are those soft skills you would say that a lot of people lack and it affects their productivity in the workplace?
What would I say? I think, I don't know how else to explain it. I think a lot of people lack just basic human interactions. So for example, asking your manager how they're doing, how they're feeling, what's keeping them up at night. Because when one of my employees asks me those things, I'm like, wow, this person's thinking about me, they care.
It goes beyond their paycheck,
It's beyond just paycheck. So just add a human touch to your everyday job. I think that's important than, just the basic, I can do this, I can do that skill. Because to be honest, I know a lot of managers that are like, I don't really like that person. And they say it out loud sometimes when I'm speaking to employers. So I think just having human interaction, asking how someone's doing. If you notice they're feeling off, maybe, you don't have to probe too much, but just like, oh, I noticed you looking different. Thing. Yeah, just seem like you care. I think it's very simple.
Because some people feel like, well, I'm not paid for that. If I'm not being paid for it, then there's no need asking, right? Okay, so basically, I'm new in my job role, and then I want to move from point A to point B. How would I do that?
So one thing I always do when I get into a new role is I sit down with whoever I'm working with, and I ask them, what is your idea of success? What does success look like for you in this role? And a lot of times, sometimes managers don't even know what that is. So it gives them a chance to really think about it. And they basically are giving you gold on a platter. They're telling you exactly, these are the things I think look successful. And then it sets yourself up. You can take time to research it on your own. Maybe there's a skill set they're expecting you to do you don't really know. I tell people, Google's your friend, YouTube's your friend. It will teach you all those things. And I also say, take courses. So for example, I never been, originally a social media person. I didn't formally train in it, but I've done a lot of YouTube or watched a lot of YouTube videos to learn about how to create content, how to use tools like Canva. And so now I have that skill set, right? So I think when you talk to your manager and ask them what does success look like for you, then they can give you that feedback, and then you can now take it and now create your own way of being successful in that role.
All right, thank you, Chika. I hope you've been taking notes, as this has been a very informative conversation. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. You are still watching Ladies Talking Business on Plus TV Africa. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. All right, Chika. I've trained as an engineer for, say, 5 years in school. I've worked as an engineer for 5 or 10 years, and now I'm tired, I'm bored, I want to switch. What would you advise I do? How would I make that switch?
Okay, so that's quite common. That's probably the second most requested question I get in my Instagram DMs.
Really?
All the time, like, and it's funny, they literally say that, like, I was doing this for so long, I'm bored, it's not challenging. So even I've done probably 3 career changes, so it's more than possible to do it. So I can talk about my own and then go into the engineering. So I actually study psychology, and when you study psychology, you're either supposed to go into HR or become a psychologist. Or it's kind of a mix where it's called industrial organizational psychology, which is the design of work. So those 3 choices, and I decided to go into HR. So I did HR for several years, but it's funny, I don't know if it's because my dad has always been into tech. I always had this interest in tech. So for several years, I did things for free, and that's tip number 1. So as I was working as a recruiter and different HR stuff, I actually started joining these tech communities. So there's one called Silicon Africa on Facebook. So I joined that community. I started learning, figure out who is who, what they're doing, started communicating, being very vocal about my interest in learning. I started going to tech meetups, so understanding what companies are doing, what's the newest, hottest thing in tech. So I started doing that. And then eventually 2 startup companies approached me that they needed help in running operations, and another startup needed help in marketing. So I just started doing it for free. I just did it because I wanted to learn. I just wanted to know, like, and learn. And honestly, so that probably was a 2-3 year period I was doing that. And that's actually how I landed the position of CEO of Talentbase. So I've never ran a tech company before, but because people knew me in the community and they knew that I understood HR and tech, that was why I was employable for that job. So for someone who's in engineering, I actually see a lot of engineers switch into business roles. A lot of people go back to business school, so that's, I think, a perfect way to segue into something else. If you go to business school, mostly you'll get an internship, you'll be positioned to be a consultant, you'll be positioned to become an investment banker, you'll be in position for so many other things. So I think that's super important that you do that as well. And I would also say that if you're trying to switch careers, maybe in something like tech, or in design, right? There's so many courses that you can actually take, right? There's Harvard Business School. They have an extension course that's free. MIT has a online course that's free. There's courses like Lydia and Coursera. All these are free online courses you can take, and you can just start teaching yourself the different skills you want to do to transition into that. And then I would finally say that one of the key things you need to do is start networking, right? Because at the end of the day, as a recruiter, I'm just looking for someone that has a skill. The degree is almost like, it only matters for maybe medical or, you know, very specific professions where you have to have that education background. But to be honest, you can start going to meetups, conferences, start meeting, understanding who the industry players are. And a lot of times that's how you get your job. Every job I've received after my position at Talentbase was through networking. I didn't apply formally. I didn't see it somewhere on a job board. It's just someone knew my background and hired me. And I haven't been in a role since my time at Talentbase that was really a recruiter and HR role either. So I think it's more than possible to switch careers, but you have to, like I said before, you can either get the education again, going back to school, you can start doing online courses that are free, and you need to start doing the networking. So actually meeting people that are in your industry or in companies that you want to work for in the future.
So in that case, how would you be able to convince your next employer that you're fit for that role?
Yeah, so I would say the other thing is you can start doing side projects. And this is kind of what I did as well. And the problem is people sometimes are doing these side projects that are learning these new skills to transition into the next career, but they're not putting it on their resume. So I think the real issue is if you're doing these side projects, create an addendum that actually says, you know, additional work experience, and then you just start listing out all these projects you've done. I remember recently I was hiring a creative director, and actually formally she was just an accountant. But then she actually had an additional work experience where she started showing that she created the brand and direction for a skincare brand, that she's done work
Personal
for a fashion shirt. Yeah, these are personal projects that she was doing on the side. And so I was actually able to follow up with her and say, okay, you know what, even though formally she was an accountant, I can see she's actually gained experience in creative direction. So it's about taking those side projects. People are always looking for help. There are different things. Volunteer your time. It could be helping at a conference, working aside someone who's in a business. I think there's so many interesting ways you could start creating the experience you need, and make sure you put that on your resume, because the mistake people make, like I said before, is someone will send me their cover letter saying I'm an award-winning designer. I look at the resume, it has nothing to do with that. So I'm like, where did you win the award? What? Like, it's not making sense. So make sure you put that on your resume if you've done any side work, so that people can see, okay, they're transitioning, okay, they have the experience, they've gained the experience in some capacity.
I know at some point someone was saying that it's also important that for every job role that you're applying for, you should sort of tailor your resume to, you know, suit it.
100%, yes. You always... I tell people, when you're tailoring your resume, right, the employer is telling you exactly what they're looking for in the job description. If it's not being said in your resume and it's not connecting to the job description, you simply will be skipped. And especially for a big organization, all these banks, telecom, we're using what is called an applicant tracking system. So if your resume is not putting specific keywords within the resume, then the applicant tracking system is literally going to blackball you. It will not see you, it will not pick you up, it will just keep you in the delete file. So what I tell people is there's two ways you can do this. Number one, as you're looking at the requirements, take some of those words and put that in your resume, right? But don't do it if you've never done it. Don't just be, you know, listing words and adding. Yeah, don't do that. But if you know, for example, as a technical recruiter, it may say understanding sourcing with LinkedIn. So if I've actually done that, lift that and put it somewhere in your resume. It's quite simple. Or I tell people there's a website called jobscan.com. For every month you get 5 resumes for free, and they literally scan your resume against the job description you're applying for, and they tell you how close your resume is to that job. So if it's 30%, obviously you have a lot of work to do. If it's now 85% or higher, then you know, okay, this is a solid resume that aligns with the job description. So that's really an easy way to do that. I also tell people, look up the company, their mission, their goals, their values. Use all those language in your summary. Your summary starts the resume, sets the tone for who you are as a person. Do not put an objective, I'm looking, I'm seeking, I'm begging. Don't put any type of thing like that on your resume, because I don't want someone begging, I don't want someone seeking. I want to know I'm competent, I'm ready, I'm the best. That's the type of language I want to see when I'm looking at resumes. So that's really the way you should tailor it, so that the applicant tracking system picks you up.
And how important, I know it's important, but how seriously should people start to take the issue of personal development in terms of moving up the career ladder?
Life is a life learning journey, right? You're always learning. If you are not constantly trying to, I know now Sierra has made this popular, but level up. You should always be leveling up, level up, yes, level. You should always be leveling up, right? So you have to, because things are changing, right? Now, the job force is a lot of tech is involved. You're seeing machine learning, artificial intelligence, all these high-level IoT, blockchain. The world is changing. So if you are not educating yourself, putting yourself step forward, you will be left behind. It's quite simple as that. So I tell people, me personally, I'm constantly watching speakers on YouTube. Like literally, I start my day either with music or I start my day with some type of motivational talk. I listen a lot to Gary Vaynerchuk. I believe that's his name. He's really great for social media. He talks a lot about where the world is going, what you should change. If you're trying to position yourself, brand yourself. I listen to Oprah a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I'm constantly listening because that informs me. Okay, how do I, present myself better? How do I network better? People see me and they think I'm an extrovert. I'm actually not. I'm what do you consider an ambivert? So I'm mixture of, I can be an extrovert, but a lot of times I like my alone space, right? So I'm always learning, okay, how do I push myself out of my comfort zone? Depending on where you are in your life, it's good to get a career coach. I've had a career coach and she's given me some breakthrough. Like she really, taught me some really key life skills as I'm trying to become an executive in different roles and running my own business. So if you can afford one, they're not cheap. but if you can afford a career coach, a life coach, I think that's great. In Nigeria, there's tons of events for personal development. There's She Leads Africa for Women, Bloom, Winbiz, to name a few.
I met you for the first time.
Exactly, right? So there's tons of events where you can get knowledge, meet with people, learn from them. And I also say, finally, when it comes to personal development, I think a lot of times your tribe, so the people that you surround yourself with, that's where you learn a lot from. They always say the 5 people around you are the person you become, right?
Exactly.
So honestly, in the past few years, I've been paying attention to my tribe. I've been looking at who's around me, what type of people am I associating myself with, and honestly, having key people around me has helped me so much. It motivates me, it inspires me. So I think that's all about personal development as well.
All right, so finally, one has been, this time around I won't say me, but one has just been laid off from the person's job. How would you say the person should manage such a situation?
Yeah, that's not easy. And, honestly, it depends on the company. So if they laid you off because they can no longer afford you. Normally, they should give you a service. So that's number one. They should give you some type of package where for at least a few months you're taken care of. Now, ideally, you would have saved up for a bit so that worst comes to worst, you're okay for the next few months. Because I do think that if you're laid off, and if you've been constantly updating a resume, networking, doing those things you need to do just so that you always have a nest, then it shouldn't take longer than 3 to 6 months, honestly, to get a new job if you're doing those things. I would also say if you're laid off, honestly, in Nigeria, there's so many, I would say, business opportunities. And it doesn't take much. It could be take a skill you have and start teaching people. I've seen people lately teaching people about how to finance, investment, teaching people how to, I've been doing resume editing as well, so that's a service. So find a service you can offer for people. You can take a position such as potentially maybe being an executive assistant for a CEO. A lot of people mistaken that position. It's actually a very powerful position. So look for ways that you can do some services, some ways that you can start earning extra income. To be honest, before you even get laid off, you should always have a side income. I think so. I don't think you should rely 100% on one income. Because if you do, then you're SOL, as they say. You're SOL. So just find services, so something you can offer to people that they will pay you for. I think that's kind of the best way to manage time. I think getting laid off, if you can, that's the best time to either get a career coach, or if you have the bandwidth, take a course on something, a new skill you can acquire, so that you can position yourself for a different type of position. Because if you're laid off, you also have to ask yourself, is the industry I'm in dying? Is the career I'm in dying? So also ask yourself, is this a time to switch careers as well?
All right, while you mentioned financing, lastly, some people usually struggle with having to ask for a pay raise. What's your take on this?
So to get a pay raise, right, you can't expect your manager to remember all the things you've done for them. Because the first thing they want to do is, we don't have the money, we don't have the budget, you know. So that's the first thing that they want to do. And it's actually, as controllers of costs, that's what they're supposed to do, technically, right? Unless it's the annual raise, then that's a different conversation. How you manage that, though, is, as I said earlier, when you ask your manager or your boss, what does success look like in this role, right? Use that as a way to start documenting every milestone you've done. Every milestone you've completed, write it down, document it. Maybe you have KPIs. Check within your KPIs and say, okay, I've been achieving these things. Or the last thing is, when your manager thanks you for something, oh, thank you for that thing you did for me the other day. Or, oh, you know, I'm so happy you went above and beyond. You know, that's that thing, we really needed help there. Start writing all those things down so that when you have this conversation with your boss or your hiring manager, and they start saying, we don't have the money, you'll just pull out your documents.
This is what I did.
This is what I did. And then they'll be like, wow, you know what, okay, you did. So now it opens the floor up because now you're showing yourself, I'm valuable to you. So if you don't give a pay raise, I am more than likely to walk out the door, right? And to be honest, any employee that's valuable to me that I've employed, I want to keep them. So anytime my employees have come to me and say, oh, you know, I need a pay raise or I'm dealing with this challenge and, you know, other companies are making offers, if I really do find them valuable, I try to find a way to do that raise. So a lot of times, to be honest, if the boss is really not that inclined to give it to you, it's because you haven't shown your value, which is really important. And if you can't, if they can't remember your value, then you have to articulate it for them. You have to show them this is the value I have. So this is why I always say go above and beyond, so that when you ask for a raise, if you're doing negotiation, then it's easy. Then for them, it's you know, why not? Even if it's 5%, something, you know, just to show appreciation.
All right, thank you so much, Chika, for joining me in the studio today. All right, thank you for watching. I remain your host, Irene Ubani. Thanks to my team, and remember, for more exciting and insightful content, do follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube on Plus TV Africa. Bye.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now? Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Like, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines, and I am Amaka Okoye. The presidency has dismissed insinuations in the media about the rearrest by the Department of State Services of Omoyele Sowore, saying no government will allow anybody to openly call for destabilization in the country and do nothing. The president's senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, who stated this in a statement in Abuja, said, and I quote, "Nigerians do not need another spate of lawlessness and loss of lives, all in the name of revolution, especially not one that is orchestrated by a man who makes his home in faraway New York and who can easily disappear and leave behind whatever instability he intends to cause." According to him, the DSS does not necessarily need the permission of the presidency in all cases to carry out its essential responsibilities that are laid down in the Nigerian constitution. He maintained that Sowore, who called for a revolution to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nigeria, is a person of interest to the DSS. Meanwhile, counsel to Omoyele Sowore and human rights lawyer Femi Falana has insisted that the DSS is guilty of desecrating the court despite the denial by the service. The DSS operatives on Friday rearrested Omoyele Sowore, convener of the Revolution Now movement, barely 24 hours after he was released on the order of the court. The DSS, however, denied infiltrating the court, stating that the service did not attempt arresting Sowore inside the court, alleging that its supporters only stage-managed the drama to bring the service to disrepute. Debunking the claim, Falana said not only did the DSS officials invade the court premises, causing the court to hurriedly end its activities, their leader also apologized to the judge. According to Falana, the presiding judge, Ijeoma Ojukwu, has summoned the head of the DSS team in her chambers and asked him to justify the invasion of the court, after which he reportedly offered an apology before he was asked to withdraw his men from the courtroom. Now, the DSS actions have generated more reactions from the rearrest of Omoyele Sowore. The United States has also expressed concerns over the rearrest and detention of Sowore. The U.S. Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, in a tweet on Saturday evening, advised the federal government to respect the rule of law, judicial independence, political and media freedom, saying they represented the key tenets of democracy. Now, in a protest against the treatment of Omoyele Sowore, the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism has postponed the presentation of an award to Nigerian Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. According to Motunrayo Alaka, the center's director, on Monday, the postponement was aligned with protests against the repression of freedom of speech in recent times, especially the incidents between the Department of State Service, and Omoyele Sowore, publisher of Sahara Reporters, on Friday, 6th of December. The center said, and I quote, "The Vice President himself shares this awareness and inappropriateness of the award at this point." Moving on, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi has said the country is in talks with President Muhammadu Buhari's government over the case of the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky. Mousavi disclosed that the Iranian government, through diplomatic contacts, was in line with the Nigerian government's help to improve El-Zakzaky's health. El-Zakzaky and his wife were on Friday transferred from the custody of the Department of State Services to Kaduna Central Prison, as ordered by Kaduna State High Court. Abbas Mousavi told reporters in Tehran, capital of Iran, on Sunday that President Buhari and Iranian Vice President for Economic Affairs Mohammad Nahavandian recently met in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, on a range of issues, including El-Zakzaky's case. And according to him, the meeting took place on the sidelines of the 5th Summit of Gas Exporting Countries Forum in Equatorial Guinea. Away from that story now, Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje has appointed the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, as the chairman of the State Council of Chiefs. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Abba Anwar, announced this in a statement on Monday. This comes against the backdrop of the creation of 4 additional emirates in the state, Bichi, Rano, Karaye, and Gaya, to decentralize the powers of the Kano Emirate. In the statement, Anwar explained that the governor appointed Sanusi and others to lead the affairs of the council in line with the provisions of the constitutions. Now to Imo State now, where it has emerged the state with the least corrupt public officials in Nigeria, according to the latest report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The report, titled The Second Corruption Survey Report in Nigeria, was released at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. The National Bureau of Statistics conducted the survey with the support of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, in addition to other partner international agencies. The report gave a state-by-state record of the corruption index in Nigeria, with Kogi State leading as the most corrupt state at 48%, followed by Gombe at 43%, and Imo State is the least state in Nigeria with 17.6%, followed by Jigawa and Plateau states. The first corruption survey report on Nigeria was conducted in the last half of 2018, where Imo State was ranked very high in the corruption index. Now, joining us in the studio is Adora Onyechere, Senior Special Assistant on Information Advocacy to the Imo State Governor. She joins us now through a live phone conversation to shed more light. Hello, Adora.
Good morning. How are you?
Hello, Adora. If you can hear me, we want to say... Yes. Okay, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on News on the Hour. So let's go straight to the point. Imo State has emerged as the state with the least corrupt public officials in Nigeria. And that's according to MBS, as you know. What's your thought? Does this kind of meet the reality on ground?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the Imo State for putting steps in agency, and secondly, the Bureau of Statistics is very obvious they are still in line with the agenda of the excellent in corruption. But it is instructive to say the second corruption agreement on fact was part of the homegrown report. What this means is that data that was collected from a 36,000 to 7 persons and 36 days. So it wasn't just about giving us this general act. And I think the second thing that is that the first corruption service that was conducted was started in the last 20 days, that Imo State Bank had the corruption issue. But that's barely 6 months into the administration of the excellent His Excellency, through his financial policies that are targeted at transparent due process and accountability in government, has used the truth. It was during this administration that His Excellency set up the financial policy to look at the leakages in the system and in the civil service and the misappropriation of government funds through leakages from banks that are accorded for. So as we speak, the Imo State government has adopted the statistical accounts, the PSC, and also able to stop cases by stopping the function of our cases of over 200 illegal bank accounts. What the giant said, but it also means that, we have a responsibility to sustain this momentum. Really passionate about taking the stand towards due process in
Adora, I can barely hear you, but if you can hear me now, Imo State was ranked, okay, you can hear me clearly now. It was ranked as the worst corrupt. That's just almost like 6 months ago. And now what changed? What changed that you have this drastic change from moving as the most corrupt to the least corrupt in the state? And you would agree with me that from last year, there's been a lot of unhappiness, so to speak, by Imo State citizens in terms of governance. What changed?
I think, first of all, for the past 8 years, before His Excellency took over after the 2019 election, it wasn't a story for just Imo life. It was a story across the world where Imo had the brand of impunity, lack of transparency. There was no governance model that adopted due process. And when you look at some of the major projects that are supposed to be people-minded, there was no access and communication between the people and the government. And so looking at the fact that we lived from just being the most corrupt state at the later half of the 2018 through the first corruption survey by the NBS to becoming the most, celebrated state in terms of looking at us coming out top as being the least corrupt state. I think it is not novelty. I think what is being said here is that His Excellency has taken giant strides in looking at financial policies, social system structure, and the governance model under his watch to reignite faith in systems across the governance model by an Imo State administration. So I think going forward, the most important thing for us as a state and for His Excellency, like I said earlier, is to sustain this model and sustain this conversation, because what this means is more work. Because when you fight corruption, corruption definitely fights back.
Okay, Adora, you just almost took words out from my mouth, because it's one thing to get to the top and another to sustain it. I was just going to ask, what would the state do to ensure that this does not decline, does not go back to, being corrupt?
I think I would want to say, I think instructively is the fact that I have a modicum of courage from what I have seen from the engagement of the masses, the system, the civil service, and even investors. The faith of investors in Imo State for the first time is an all-time high. We remember that prior to coming into office, we were ranking 36 out of 37 in the Ease of Doing Business, index. And that has shown up a notch because we have seen more investors coming to the state. We have seen bilateral relationships rekindled. We have seen an energy from international partners that see and tell of a government that is taking the right step in the direction in making sure that the system is actually working along the transparency line. And so what His Excellency is going to be keen on doing in sustaining this narrative is to make sure that all governance structures, from the civil service to the private sector to the public sector to even members of the executive, are in the understanding to keep keen watch on this index of us being the least corrupt state. We must engage across board and begin, massive orientation and sensitization programs for people to understand that it's not just about the executive for any state, it's about the branding of the state.
Thank you very much, Adora. I'm afraid we'll have to let you go now. Thank you so very much for your thoughts there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, moving on, the Ekiti State Independent Electoral Commission has announced that All Progressive Congress has won all chairmanship seats of the 16 local governments and the 177 councillorship seats at the local government election held on Saturday. A total of 14 political parties participated in the election, including the APC and the main opposition, the People's Democratic Party, which was characterized by a low turnout of voters and pockets of violence that claimed one life. Announcing the results for the council chairmanship seats, returning officers for the 16 local government areas took turns to declare the results of the election in their area of assignment, while that of councillorship was simultaneously announced at the local government headquarters.
And the report I got on site was that nobody was shot. That really somebody came with a gun, he shot in the air. It was an incident of cold rivalry. From what the returning officers have said today, the APC won 16 local government chairmanship seats.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State has called for the total cancellation of the local government elections, saying that the local council polls were marred by irregularities and violence as against the principles of fair and credible electoral process promised by the electoral body.
That in all the local governments in Ekiti State, ballot papers and ballot boxes were not supplied to over 3/4 of the units. We are saying we are not even asking for cancellation in 3. We are asking for a total cancellation of what they said they conducted yesterday to be an election.
And time to take a quick break now. We'll be back with more stories. Please be with us. Now, Now on the African scenes, to lose 60 young lives at sea is a national tragedy and a matter of grave concern to my government. A full police investigation has been launched to get to the bottom of this serious national disaster. The culprits will be prosecuted according to law. These are the words of Gambian President Adama Barrow on Saturday. He was speaking in a national address on the death of 60 nationals off the Mauritanian coast last Wednesday as they embarked on an illegal migration mission. The incident was marked as one of the deadliest disasters this year among people making the perilous journey to Europe. The boats that left Gambia in a week earlier had been carrying at least 150 people, including women and children. Now, moving on, 2 survivors have been found alive 2 days after a 6-story building collapsed in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Authorities said the building collapsed on Friday and killed at least 5 people, injuring 31 others and left 24 more people missing. When the 2 survivors were found on Sunday morning, a crowd of onlookers burst into cheers and claps. Nairobi Police Chief Philip Ndolo said the rescue of a man and a woman had invigorated emergency workers with hopes of finding other survivors. He said the 2 were in stable condition in hospital. And that will be it on the African scenes. Up next is the foreign news. And on the foreign scenes now, a large fire has swept through a bag factory in the Indian capital, Delhi, killing 43 workers, according to officials. The blaze broke out at the 4-story building in the city's congested Old Quarter early on Sunday morning. At least 100 people were sleeping inside the factory, which mainly makes school bags, when the fire started. More than 60 people have been rescued. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called the fire horrific and sent his condolences to the affected. Now, the FBI says it is treating Friday's deadly attack on a Florida Navy base as a presumed terrorist attack. The Saudi gunman who was training at the Pensacola site killed 3 sailors before he was shot dead. Special Agent Rachel Rogers said the FBI was trying to determine if he had acted alone or had connections to a group. She said other Saudi students had been questioned but not arrested. They were reportedly confined to the base and cooperating with investigators. Meanwhile, the victims of the attack have been named as Joshua Caleb Watson, who is 23, Mohammed Samer Haytham, 19-year-old, and Cameron Scott Walters, who is 21. The U.S. Navy said the sailors showed exceptional heroism and bravery in the face of evil. And that's it on the foreign scenes at this hour. And up next is the business news.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
And in business, concerned Nigerians under the auspices of the local soft drinks makers in the National Union of Food Beverages Employees have urged the federal government to give all manufacturers of soft drinks a level playing field in order to grow local brands in the country. In the same vein, they urged the federal government to caution the modus operandi of foreign companies, especially multinational soft drink companies in the country. Speaking at a peaceful protest in Lagos on Friday, spokesperson for the group, Ibrahim Boroku explained that local manufacturers are doing their best to aggressively contribute towards the development of the country's economy, despite harsh operating environment, and there is need to protect them from harassment and intimidation by the foreign ones. In quote, he said, they had converged to have a peaceful protest about the intimidation and harassment of sellers by Pepsi and their threats to kill local brands, which is not in line with our country's level playing field for business operation. According to him, the Nigerian market is the biggest in Africa and there is enough room for rivals in the same industry to coexist without rancor.
We are here to protest about our local drink have not been selling in the market. We are here to let other companies to let us sell our products. Sometimes we take our market to the markets and we cannot even be able to sell it. People have been looking at it and ignore it as if it's not part of it. It's our local drink, so let it be selling to our people. And we are in Nigeria as well, so we are here to protest to sell our product. We want the federal government to come and rescue us so that we'll be able to sell our products.
Meanwhile, in Ghana, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Ghana, is raising concerns over an almost 1% increase in fuel prices since Friday evening. Duncan Amoah, Executive Secretary of the Chamber, in a press release on Sunday said recent fast depreciation of the cedi against the dollar from 5.53 cedis to around 5.71 cedis forward rate is largely responsible for this increase in prices. He, however, noted that there has been some marginal increases in FOB prices as freight premiums have shot up a bit due to the IMO CAP 2020 program. COPEC is therefore urging the Monetary Policy Committee to work very hard to control the fast depreciating cedi in order to avoid any needless fuel price increases at a time when most petroleum consumers are already complaining of very harsh fuel prices across pumps within the country. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs have raised oil prices forecast for 2020 following tighter than expected inventories by the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies. We're increasing our forecast for backwardation in 2020, although our long-term marginal cost forecast remains unchanged. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs analysts wrote in a note dated in December 6th. The bank revised its Brent spot price forecast to $63 per barrel for 2020, up from a previous estimate of $60 per barrel, while it also increased West Texas Intermediate WTI spot price outlook to $58.50 per barrel, up from $55.50. Meanwhile, Brent futures were down by 0.3% at $64.90 per barrel. Oil producers led by Saudi Arabia and Russia agreed on Thursday to cut out by an extra 500,000 barrels per day in the first quarter of 2019. And that's all on business news at this hour. I am Irene Obani. Still ahead on Plus TV African News as I round up on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
And in entertainment, on a sad note though, rapper Juice WRLD has passed away at the age of 21. The rapper reportedly suffered seizure while walking through Chicago's Midway Airport. According to law enforcement sources, the Lucid Dreams rapper was bleeding from the mouth when paramedics arrived at the scene. Higgins was still conscious after being rushed to hospital but was sadly pronounced dead a short time later. His cause of death remains unclear at the moment. Tributes have poured in from artists around the world as they discover the news of Jay's tragic passing. And that's it on entertainment at this hour. The very best in sports coming up right after this break.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, no.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
And in sports, it rained goals in the Nigeria Professional Football League over the weekend as a rejuvenated Kano Pillars side recorded a massive home win. In Week 7 matches played across the country, Kano Pillars, who suffered agonizing moments at the start of the 2019 season, recorded back-to-back wins as they crushed visiting Delta Force 6-1 at the Sani Abacha Stadium. In Okigwe, table toppers Plateau United's unbeaten run ended as Chibundu Ama's goal in the 73rd minute proved enough to give victory to Heartland over the visitors. And in Akure, Sunshine Stars defeated Nasarawa United by 4-2. Akwa United defeated Adamawa United. Katsina United edged past MFM 1-0. Wiki Tourists lost to Ifeanyi Uba 2-0. While Lobby Stars forced Warri Wolves to a goalless draw, while Akwa Starlets forced Abia Warriors to a 1-1 draw in Umahia. And that's it on sports for this hour, and our news roundup of events also. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and do have yourselves a great day.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Hello and welcome to One-on-One on Plus TV Africa. My name is Elsie Godwin. On this episode, we are one-on-one with the founder of Crystal Digital Network Solutions and a member of the Technical Advisory Council for Oyo State, Temitope Ogunsemo. He is a member of the Nigerian Computer Society, Nigerian Internet Group, and British Computer Society. Mr. Ogunsemo is very passionate about continued development of innovative, robust, and secure informative technology environment in the educational sector. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, you've played a huge role in the education sector. Why did you choose this sector and what's your driving force?
For me, it's not really about the sector. Okay. I'm an entrepreneur. So first of all, I like to see problems. I like to see challenges. And wherever I see an opportunity, I take advantage or I try to provide solutions. And one of the areas that I saw, one of the sectors that I saw a major issue was the education sector, and I decided to provide solutions there.
So what was the need you noticed at the time?
Okay, so I went to a public school in Lagos. You can call it a very, very big school, and one of the foremost public schools in Nigeria. My school was about 100 years at the time I left school, and they were still used to all of these manual means of operation, and which almost cost me my university admission abroad. As a result of, I wanted my transcript. Yeah, when I was done from the high school, I needed to get my transcript so I could put in application for my course abroad. And for some reasons, the school, couldn't present that transcript. It was also about the time where political period where you had the ministerial nominees and stuff which they wanted to confirm someone, and they couldn't even present the names of people who actually went through the school and one of the nominees. So fast forward some years after that, I'd gone to school, I'd returned, I was already doing technology, and I found that this same problem was still there, and I decided to go in and say I can provide solution.
Okay, so how far has this solution provided what?
Education in Nigeria is a very regulated environment. Maybe not just education, but because it's a federal government college, it's not an area where, as a service provider, you can just go in and tell them this is what they need to do. I mean, it's a big issue. But for me, it was about what they needed, what they could not do without. As I speak to you today, all of the federal government colleges in Nigeria currently run on the solution that I've built. So I think that if it's not something that is making a lot of difference in their lives or in the schools, I'm not sure you won't have over 100 people adopt the solution.
So this solution is called My School Portal.
Yeah, My School Portal.
And it's, like you said, over 100 schools have embraced it.
Yes.
Are there any tertiary institutions on this list?
So, like I said, Nigeria is a very regulated, anything that has to do with government and sectors, it's a very regulated. So, if I want to start having conversation, I even broke into the one and, the one from one to the over 100 of them now. You won't live here.
Okay.
So tertiary is another ball game entirely, right? They have their own autonomy. Maybe it was easier. Maybe it was a lot easier because federal government colleges has one umbrella, maybe under the Minister of Education and maybe the Permanent Secretary. So it was easier to to go in, provide solution, and do a central system that the whole federal government colleges can run on. For tertiary, it doesn't work that way. The vice chancellor or the governing council would decide who they want to run. So so as we speak today, we have people doing several solutions in silos, but not the kind of solutions that are currently running in the federal government colleges.
Okay, but this same solution can actually work in the tertiary institution if you don't have the system that isn't making it work well, right?
I must tell you, this is a fact. The solution we currently have in federal government colleges, It's an enterprise solution that is quite robust, can work in any of the universities in Nigeria, even do much more than what they are currently running on. I can tell you that for a fact.
Okay. When we talk about innovation in the education sector and we're having this conversation, what should be the key driving elements in order to get measurable success?
The challenges are in different forms, and it depends on what you're trying to solve. For instance, one of the first things that we came in to solve was how to digitize a lot of the manual means of operation. That's one. There is also an area where you're talking of curriculum, is another one. There's also area or deliberation of whether schools should, policy makers of policy formulators should come together and really tell us this education we're talking about, or school, secondary school, primary school, certificates, are they really worth the while of brick and mortar schools? You know, now that you have a lot of open sources around the world. So there are quite a number of things to think about and to measure them based on. So if you, with that question, it's big. You have to narrow it down to a particular thing. Then I can tell you how to measure on this, then measure on that. But education sector on its own is huge. It's huge.
So as of 2018, your company was evaluated to be about $3 million company. You are a key player in this industry. Would you say it's been easy to collaborate with the government to get the solutions out there? Or would you say you need more enabling environment?
No, I think that, truth be told, government has really, they've been there for us, and I can't lie to you about that. We started out sometime in 2009, and it was easy. Could have been very easy for any government to come and say, you know what, you guys, we don't want you guys to play in this sector. Having access to all the database of all the federal government colleges, if they are not being fair to you, they can actually have the right to say no, go. So I think that, yes, they've been there, but enabling environments, maybe for us and other players to play and do more. Because if you look at the challenges in this country, it's not enough for everybody to sit back and say, oh, government is not doing this, government is not doing that. Even if you look at the budget, it's a very challenging, environment. So you need the private sector to come in and do whatever they can in that sector. So, and which is what the government is doing. Now, enabling environment, yes, I know they can do more, but where they are now, I don't think they're really doing bad for a lot of the service providers that are coming on board. But yes, we're good.
Okay, you mentioned database, but before we go into data collection and information we have, let's go on a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll carry on this conversation.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome back. We still have Temitope Ogunsemo with us, and this is One-on-One on Plus TV Africa. So before we went on that quick break, you said something about the government giving you access to a certain database to get your job, make your job easier. We cannot overemphasize the importance of data when it comes to policy making and decision making. Now, how far would you say we have gone in information gathering for data in Nigeria, aside looking at the education sector?
I think the only thing that is stopping us, not only in Nigeria, in Africa, It's data, it's identity.
Okay.
It's a major issue. I don't think we're there at all. We're not even there at all. And I can't even lie to you. It's an area that I'm quite interested in. We're about 1.2 billion people in Africa. If you compare other continents, try and see what they've done. You can imagine if you have verified data of Africa, or you come to Nigeria, over 200 million people alone, and you build a unicorn solution, you can imagine what we'll do. If you flip it on the other side, try and see what they're doing in the Western world. See what eBay has done. See what PayPal, see what if you go to Asia, you see what Alibaba, AliExpress, what they are all doing. Everybody is thinking in that direction. I think it's a huge, huge problem here. And until the government really realize the benefits, I'm not sure that that promised land we all have been hoping for, that we're going to miss up that promised land anytime soon. Data is a major issue. And if you think of what is going on in Nigeria, if you think of the kind of data we currently even have in Nigeria, maybe the most verified data now will be the BVN. How many BVN? Maybe over 20 plus million people. You have over 100 people with mobile telephony. I mean, that's a key for you. That's a major data, but those data are not verified. You have more mobile phones than more account numbers in Nigeria. You understand? So data is almost everything. And you see a whole lot of businesses not thriving in Nigeria just because of data. So many things can happen. If only data, you have verified data, you have identity. Identity is a big issue, not only in Nigeria, everywhere outside the country. But you see a lot of countries that have done very well in the Western world. They took advantage of the data that they have. Data is everything. Who are you? You want to collect money. They want to know you up to your house. It's possible. Nigeria is almost impossible. People, I mean, outside the country, you see people talking about public funds, talking about social security. I don't know that we have anything like that. And I don't even know when we're going to. How do we even plan? It's a major issue. It's a very big issue.
So if you are going to advise Mr. President on this issue and make him understand the importance of data to our development, where would you advise him to start from, and what would you tell him is the importance of data to us?
Yeah, so just recently, I'm going to give kudos to them. One of my staff yesterday wanted to renew our international passport. So she came back to the office and said to me, they said, you need NIMC number. You want to, almost everything now, they ask you for NIMC number, even though it's not very convenient. But that's what they're asking. So meaning they're trying to unshake the current data they have.
Okay.
Now, that's good. But the NIMC, how available, how accessible, how easy is it for every normal person to have these numbers? That will be another question. If you want to generate data, you need to make enough resources available for people to have access to that data or to be registered on that data. So I think that that's the challenge. I don't know. Even myself, my international passport, for instance, will expire sometime next year. I'm told that to renew that passport now, I need to get NIMC. The NIMC you're talking about, some years back, I went and registered. Up to now, I don't even have a number. I don't even have the registration. What is it called? So, same thing has come. Now they're saying you must go and register on that NIMC. I think that this NIMC, for instance, should be almost everywhere. Should be tied. I like that they're almost tying it to everything. I mean, if you work in a place, your staff must have NIMC. You want to file tax clearance, you must bring your NIMC of your employees. Things like that. You want to, you're in a school, before you pay your school fees, you must have a number. We want to know you. That's a number that identifies you. It's very good, but let these numbers be, let these vendors who are running these things be more and also efficient, more maybe in terms of turnaround time. Because I even heard that my staff that went there yesterday went and registered, and they said it will take maybe another few weeks before they will bring back.
It seems that when the solutions come out, there's always a problem. It's either the turnaround time, like you said, or it's not seamless, or it's way stressful. Regardless of what we talk about our issues in Nigeria, we can say that we have very good tech guys and programmers and software guys. where does the problem lie? Is it that the government is not working with the right set of people, or the people that are available in this part of the world cannot carry out they don't know the technicalities of creating this database? What exactly is our problem?
Just to respond, number one, for me would be technical know-how. That's one. Then number two is the political will. Now, if I give you an example of why I give to those two reasons. One, if you think about when they started saying we should do the mobile phone registration, that took a couple of years. In the end, something went down. So you need political will, then you need technical know-how. If those two things are there, then we can get everything right. Because adaptability is an issue anywhere in the world. Nobody wants to be pushed to do anything. So for you to say you're comfortable to a particular thing and we want you to do, it's something that people are going to say no. So, but if the political will is there, wherever you would take, then you would ensure that people go on that platform. So that's what I think it is. If we get that right, I think we'll be on the right roadmap.
Okay, so the Minister of Education in Nigeria, Adamu Adamu, recently, a few months ago, said that the number of out-of-school children in the country has risen to about 16 million or over 16 million. And this is a notable increase from 10.5 million as at 2013. Now, he's also blaming it on the high number of poor funding of education and all that. What is your take on this? Is our problem really poor funding or corruption?
Because I'm a little bit close to the system, I think poor funding is one.
Okay.
Leave corruption aside. Poor funding is the main issue. If you look at the budget of education in Nigeria, I'm sure if you compare with some other budgets, maybe even in Nigeria or outside the country, you would see that it's a far cry. The government comes out every year to say, or the political parties come out to say, we're committed to education, we're trying to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do. But when you look at the amount that is being disbursed even for this education and for that sector, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. Maybe because I'm a little bit closer, I'm able to see a few things. It's almost impossible, and which is why I said to you that a lot of these things, I mean, it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs to come up. I mean, and maybe not only in education, several other areas, several other sectors like that in Nigeria. Government can't do everything, even outside the country. Government don't do everything. I was in Des Moines about a month ago at Drake University, and we had their governing body. They came. They usually have some meetings. You had people coming out saying that I will give $5 million for this. I will give $10 million for this. It's almost difficult to find people do such a thing here in Nigeria. But people respect system. They respect this, and they are saying a school that produced someone like them, they want to give $5 million. They donate $5 million for this. They donate $10 million for that. Government cannot, not in Nigeria, not anywhere in the world. You need the private people to come in to also do their own bit. So to say that the entire budget in the country you want to spend on education, I don't even know if that will be enough compared to where we are now and where we need to be. It will be difficult. In 2009, there was this projection that by 2020, Nigeria will be one of the most developed countries in the world. It's just for a few months away.
A few weeks, actually.
So I should ask you, are we there? So I mean, it's a food for thought.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the role of EdTech in reducing the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome welcome back. Thank you for still staying with us. Mr. Gusemo, so before we went on that break, you were talking about, you actually agreed with the Minister of Education that the poor funding is one of the issues. We have more children out of school. So my question now would be, since you play in the EdTech space, what role do you think EdTech can play to help reduce this number significantly?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, if you look at the population of youth in Nigeria and compare to the number of schools or number of good schools, you would see that there is a whole lot of disparities. And that's how, if you go to the north, you'll find that a whole lot of people are already displaced and there are no schools. Now, what we as an EdTech provider, what we're doing is to build a solution which we're currently even building the software that can allow people out of school students learn at their own pace without going to the school. Now, like I said, Nigerian education sector is a very regulated system. If you think of what happens maybe in an open university outside the country, for instance, if you go to maybe the University of Liverpool, a lot of people who went to University of Liverpool didn't even go to a brick and mortar school. Some of them did it from here. And at the end of the day, they go there for graduation. It's not written there that you did an online school and stuff, which is a major. So adaptability in this part of the country is one issue. Regulatory is another issue. Maybe regulatory and adaptability over there, they were able to get it right. But I'm not sure that we're there yet. But of course, we can't stop providing this solution. I mean, by the time, I know there's Nigerian Open University, I don't know if there is I don't know if there are issues of you went to Nigerian Open University and you went to a normal university, and I wasn't sure if you go to Open University, if you're able to serve here, or if you go to a normal university, I know you're able to serve. Those kind of things are the issues that even people who build solutions or come up with solutions like this have. Because when you think about it, for you to even make money as a business person, for instance, you need to think of the pros and cons. If what the solution you're providing in the end, you're going to have a lot of backstop, then it's going to be a major issue. But I mean, regardless, we are providing that solution because we think that's the new future, you understand? Also because we think that in the solution, you have better curriculum to even work with than the current curriculum you have. Think about even our curriculum, for instance. What we currently even have, I don't even think that it's enough to keep us for another 10 years. I mean, we're in a disruptive environment. You can see a lot of things that are happening. You can't tell me that a lot of the things that we learned or we used to know in school back in the day is what will take us to another level. Now, if you think of what is happening maybe in the Western world or maybe even in Africa, if you go to Kenya, if you go to Rwanda, even from primary school, they've started adopting digital technology, adding coding into their curriculum. I don't think Nigeria is even thinking of that, and that's where to go. There is disruption already in the system. Disruption has nothing to do with, I went to university to read biochemistry, or I went to read medicine. Then it was the main kind of jobs or the main kind of profession to go into. But in the near future, it's almost not. I mean, you'll be seeing things like graphics design, things like coding, things like programmer and stuff. That's where the next future jobs are. So it's important for, as a policymaker or as a government, to start to think in this direction and start to make some changes. So I think that with the kind of solution that we are providing, those kind of solutions will solve those problems. So it's not left for the government to accept and adopt this kind of solution.
So if I'm getting you right, this solution is online learning.
It's online learning, open source, yeah.
Okay, so do you think we are at a place mentally and physically, like is our orientation good enough to embrace this form of learning at this time?
Yeah, so like I said, nothing came to us and we took it very joyfully. You know, over time, we're going to realize that that is the best form of learning. And it's even very convenient. A lot of people don't like to be mollycoddled to learn, and a lot of people don't like to be bullied to learn. You understand? So with this form of learning, you can learn at your own pace and go and write your certification to move to the next level at your own pace. So, and you can go back, it allows for reflective learning, where you can, the current system we have doesn't allow for maybe reflective learning. Now you can go review what you have done, check yourself, then you can go and write exam to say, okay, you're moving to the next level.
This form of learning, can it be applicable to our foundational education, primary education?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course, it will.
All right. So there seems to be an increase in the reports of cyber crimes lately, and some people have decided to capitalize and stereotype us and say these are the people that come out of this part of the world. But would you say our educational system should be blamed for this, and are we channeling the tech idea wrongly?
So, I mean, I was somewhere last week having this conversation, and yeah, some number of people in the environment are responsible for some of these cyber issues, right? But you would also agree with me that you have, in that also areas, you still have some people who are making good use of the technology around them. I mean, you've seen a lot of innovation hubs around the country. I mean, if you didn't have some of them, you have maybe even more people doing Yahoo Yahoo, if you get what I mean. So I think that the government or the people can spend more money to bring up a whole lot of more idea hubs like this, which will reduce a lot of those cyber security menace that we hear about almost all the time.
What advice would you give to the hardworking youths we have?
Well, they need to pick the ones that are doing it right and make them their role model and leave whatever is not working. I mean, for me, it's you're seeing a cup. It's either half full or half empty. It depends on how you see it. So maybe half full.
Okay, so in your opinion, what is the next step for EdTech in Nigeria?
If you think about most of the sectors, even in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, they've been disrupted. Sectors that you would never think that could be disrupted. Are you talking of fintech? Research even shows that with about 2 billion people having first experience, mobile banking experience on their phone, then there will be nothing like banks in the near future. Or there will be, I mean, with fintech companies, they will disrupt that system, which they're already doing. Even in Nigeria, we're experiencing it. If you go to the health sector, health is another place where they say it's people's lives. So it's a very regulated environment. That sector has been disrupted. So, and that doesn't leave education sector, it doesn't leave them. So in the near future, even from now, I can see that a whole lot of people are coming up to disrupt that system. And I see that disruption in that sector might be that thing that will take us to promised land with the education sector in Nigeria, considering the number of people, considering the number of finance or funding that we have available to us. That solution would be disruption in the EdTech.
So the solution we are looking for has to be disruptive.
It has to be disruptive, yes.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching. My name is Elsie Godwin. Do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Plus TV Africa. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We've been chatting with Mr. Temitope Ogunsemo, who is the founder of Crystal Digital Network Solutions. Thank you for watching. See you later.
All right, country people, greeting on top this 0 o'clock. When Mr. Nate join us for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This is the Toronto and San Juan given my name, now Promise Nero. They say the presidency don't throw away the matter of the media when say concern the rearrest when the Department of the State Services, DSS, do for Moyele Sowore head. Say no government go allow anybody to call for Karedu for inside the country and nothing go can happen. The President Senior Special Assist on top media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, and he talked this one inside one Yanis for Abuja on Sunday. Shehu say Nigeria don't need another work up the Karedu or loss of lives for the name of revolution, especially person when be say put in house for Obodo, New York, and when be say if he just run quick from any while when be say cause for ground. As he take care, he said the DSS don't need the permission of the presidency for all their matter to do within day for the Nigeria Constitution. He said Sowore when be say call for one revolution to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nigeria, now person of interest for the DSS. Counsel to Moyele Sowore and human rights lawyer Femi Falana-San, he don't say the DSS they guilty as they Karedu for the court even as the service say their hand no dey waiting they talk. The DSS operative on Friday rearrest Moyele Sowore when be say he be the oga of the Revolution Now movement just 24 hours after they release him for the order of the court. The DSS say they no cause any kasala for the court and say the service no do any waka to arrest Sowore inside the court. Say na his supporters do the waka to bring the service name put for Sansa. Falana say not be say the DSS officials just only gbege for inside the court and say they cause a kasala when be say make the court end their waka sharply. And so their oga constantly do abeg give the judge. As Falana take here, he said the presiding judge Ijeoma Ojukwu called the oga of the DSS team for our chambers and he tell them to talk why they do that kind of kasala for the court. After I give one apology before they tell her make he withdraw him and come out from the courtroom. The DSS actions don't bring plenty talk because of the rearrest of Moyele Sowore. The United States don't shook mouth for the rearrest and the one when we say they take lock Sowore. The U.S. Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor for one tweet on Saturday evening, Sama Betayan gave the federal government to respect the rule of law, judicial independence, political and media freedom, say they stand for the key of democracy. Let's say for the we not go agree work out for the way when we say they take the do Moyele Sowore anyhow, the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, they don't carry the presentation of one award to the Nigeria Vice President Yemi Osinbajo go front. As Moturayo Alaka, the center director, take here on Monday, he said they carry the waka go front because of the we not go agree waka against the waka of freedom of speech, especially the matter between the Department of the State Security Service and Moyele Sowore, publisher of the Sahara Reporters on Friday, 6th of December. The center say the Vice President himself shared this awareness and the palaver of the award for this point. Iranian Foreign Ministry talk pan Abbas Mousavi, he don't say the country they talk with Oga President Muhammadu Buhari government for the matter of the Oga of the Islamic Movement for Nigeria, IMN, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zazaki. Mousavi talk say the Iranian government do diplomatic contact they in line with the Nigeria government to help improve El-Zazaki health. Then transfer El-Zazaki and his wife from the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, to Kaduna Central Prison on Friday. As the Kaduna State High Court give order, Abbas Mousavi talk people for inside Tehran when we say the capital of Iran on Sunday say Oga President Buhari, Iranian Vice President for Economic Affairs, Muhammad Nahavandian, be don't meet inside Malabo, Equatorial Guinea for some matter when we say it concerns El-Zazaki matter. As he take care, he said the meeting happened for the sidelines of the 5th summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF, inside Equatorial Guinea. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje don't put the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, as the Shemo of the State Council of Chiefs. The Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Albert Anwar, Echowedisian on Monday. This one they come against the backdrop of the creation of 4 more emirates for the state, Bichi, Rano, Kiraye, and Gaya to decentralize the powers of the Kano Emirate. For the statement, Anwar said the governor put Sanusi and others to lead the affairs of the council in line with the provision of the constitution. According to the latest report, when the National Bureau of Statistics released, they say Imo State don't sit down as a state with where we say rule of public officials not to do they happen for Nigeria plenty. The report when they called the second Wururu survey report for Nigeria and they released for the State House Conference Center inside Abuja. The National Bureau of Statistics do the waka with the support of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, in addition to other collab of international joint body. The report gives state-by-state record of the Wururu Index for Nigeria, with Kogi State, when we say they carry first as the most wuru state with 48%, followed by Gombe, when we say they take 43%. Imo, nice small pass for all the states inside Nigeria with 70.6%, followed by Jigawa and Plateau State. They do the first Wuru survey report for Nigeria for the last half of 2018, where we say Imo State take the very high for the Wuru index. The Ekiti State Independent Electoral Commission don't talk say the All Progressive Congress APC don't win all the chairmanship seats of the 16 local government and the 177 councillorship seats for the local government election when say they do on Saturday. Total of 14 political parties now do the election. When we say APC and the main opposition People Democratic Party PDP, when we say they say people not to show face do, and when we say they say some begay be happen when one person take die. As they talk the result of the council chairmanship seat, returning officers for the 16 local government areas take turn to declare the result of the election for their area, and also they turn the councillorship result for the local government headquarters.
The report I got on site was that nobody was shot. That really somebody came with a gun, he shot in the air. It was an incident of cold rivalry. From what the returning officers have said today, the APC won 16 local government chairmanship seats.
The same meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party PDP for Ekiti State don't cause say may they cancel all the local government election. Say wahala and begay happen for the local council election, and it day against the principle of better and ogbonge electoral process. When Mr. Electoral Joint Body say they go do.
That in all the local governments in Ekiti State, ballot papers and ballot boxes were not supplied to over 3/4 of the units. We are not even asking for cancellation in 3. We are asking for a total cancellation of what they said they conducted yesterday to be an election.
Let's say the federal government also claim say the National Assembly don't be a rubber stamp legislature as it take concern working relationship with the executive. The special assist media and publicity to President Muhammadu Buhari through this year for the meeting between the lawmakers and the House of Representatives press call. Shehu say they in line with the interests of the country for both arms of government to work together so that they finish work for the worker of the federal government.
It's not all about free speech. For instance, is there a content in that bill that prevents social media harm? I've seen what the British Parliament is doing, for instance, that social media is being held accountable for what is called social media addiction among children. Nigerians should please not be embarrassed that we have a parliament that is working hand in hand with the executive, because that is what we voted them to do.
As a responsible legislature, that there's need for us to reorder the period during which we consider the budget and pass it. And that's why we work together as a team in the interest of the nation.
In respect of the social media's laws and hate speech bill, to me, my constraint is against it, and I believe that the executive should see it in that light.
Why domicile the issue of insecurity only to the federal government? And it is our own desire and as legislators that we should look into the issue, and we are looking into the issue of insecurity. And our desire is that we should have state police, and a lot of legislators, and they will agree with me, that if we have state police and community policing, it's going to give confidence in the system.
Our desire is to provide accurate, objective, and informed reports to enable our leaders in the executive and the legislature serve the nation better. As reporters reporting the parliament, I also believe that we have a duty to set the agenda for the lawmakers, especially for the 9th National Assembly. And one of the ways to do this is to engage all stakeholders.
They say the joint body of the local government marriage registrars don't call for more touchlighting of the palaver when we say concern registration of marriage. When we say local government councils, that they do. The president of the joint body, DG, is okay as they yarn with talk men for one we not go grey waka inside Abuja. When we say that they some accused give the Ministry of Interior say that they do begay as they want to lobby power. When we say they put for local government council to empower them to do marriage waka as constitution they put them. Now that they say the later when say the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Georgina Ehuriadu, when say that some information give embassies for the country, made a look marriage certificate from local councils a day illegal. And when we say that they say breach the constitution and one abuse of due process.
An arm of federal government is what we are having issues with, and that is the Ministry of Interior. Because they want to continue with the illegality, and we sworn to uphold the sanctity of Nigeria 1999 Constitution as amended. That is what we stand for. I want to believe the present government, their mantra is basically on two major things: anti-corruption and upholding of rule of law. And the president of the country will not sit aloof and allow a segment of his government to erode the powers of other tiers. Because local government is the third tier of the government. The sanctity of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended must be protected by the federal government, especially the president. We are calling on the president to please look into it and salvage a ugly week, because this thing has really caused a lot of embarrassment to our people. Some embassies have started rejecting local government signed marriage certificates based on the letter purportedly written to them by Ministry of Interior, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Interior. So it has really gotten to a state whereby some of our members have been chased out of their offices through violence.
All right, now time to enter our sharp break. When we show back, we'll start another to read them. We'll not go anywhere. They say the Gambian president, Adama Barrow, he talked on Saturday, say to lose 60 young lives for seeing a national palaver on a matter for bunge concern to in government. They say they don't do full police investigate to see how this national palaver go take finish. And they say they go deal with people when we say they join hand as law take put time. He talked this one for one national address as they take 60 nationals for inside the Mauritanian coast last Wednesday as they do work out of one illegal migration. They say the palaver is one of the deadliest disasters this year among people when we say that they do the waka to Europe. The boat when we say they come out from Gambia 1 week early, then they carry at least 150 people when we say women and picking they join. They say they don't see two people when we say that they are alive 2 days after one 6-story building first scatter for the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Authorities say the building first scatter on Friday and they kill at least 5 people, can injure 31 others and 24 people can they miss. When say they see the 2 survivors on Sunday morning, some crowd when say that they look, come they happy they clap hand. Nairobi Police Chief Philip Ndolo, he said the rescue of 1 man and 1 woman don't ginger the emergency workers to get hope when say they want to see the other survivors. He said the 2 they for stable condition for inside hospital. The next one, now our foreign news. On to foreign industry officials talk say one big fire don't happen for one bag factory inside the Indian capital Delhi, when we say key 43 workers. The fire come up for the 4-story building for the city headquarters early on Sunday morning. They say like 100 people they sleep inside the factory when we say that they do school bags. When we say the fire takes start, they don't save more than 60 people. Prime Minister Narendra Modi he called the fire saying a wire and a throwaway battalion is give people when we say it affect. Police say one volcano don't happen for New Zealand with about 50 people for the area when say they don't see some of them. They say they see tourists as they walk inside the rim of the White Island crater just moment before the palaver happened. Police say at least one of those people when say they say from the island volcano injured well. White Island or Wakari, a day off the coast of plenty tours when say they happen for days. Scenic flight when say a day available. The FBI said that they treat Friday deadly brigade when we say happen for Florida Navy base as terrorist brigade. The Saudi government, when we say they train for the Pensacola site, he keep 3 sailors before or he gets collabo with one joint body. She said they don't question other Saudi students, but they don't arrest them. They put them for the base and they cooperate with investigators there. Meanwhile, they say the victim of the beginner, Joshua Caleb Watson, when we say be 23 years, Mohammed Sameh Hitam, when we say be 19 years, and Cameron Scott Waters, when we say be 21 years. The U.S. Navy say the sailors should say they get mind even as they face the evil worker. The next one, now our business news. As it concerns Nigeria people under the umbrella of the people, when we say that they do local soft drinks for the National Union of Food Beverages Employees, they don't tell the federal government to give all manufacturers of the soft drinks one level playing field so that they fit grow local brands for the country. For the same matter, they tell the federal government to talk to the modus operandi of the foreign companies, especially the multinational soft drink company when we say they did the country. As the year for the We No Go Gree Waka for Lagos on Friday, Talk person for the joint body, Ibrahim Olowokoroku, he said the local manufacturers they do their best to contribute for the betterment of the country economy, even with the harsh operating environment, and said need deal to protect them from carry do and make the foreign people not put fear for their body. For one quote, he said they don't gather body to do one peaceful We No Go Gree Waka. When we say they take put fear for the body, people body, when we say that they sell Pepsi and they are threat to kill local brands. When we say no day in line with their country level playing field for business operation. As it take the Niger market now the biggest for Africa and enough room there for anybody for the same industry to do business when we say wala in no good day.
We are here to protest about our local drink have not been selling in the market. We are here to let other companies to let us sell our products. Sometimes we take our market to the markets and we cannot even be able to sell it. People who have been looking at it and ignore it as if it's not part of it. It's our local drink, so let it be selling to our people. And we are in Nigeria as well, so we are here to protest to sell our product. We want the federal government to come and rescue us so that we'll be able to sell our products.
Let's say for Ghana, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Ghana, they talk for almost 1% increase for the fair price since Friday evening. Duncan Amoa, executive secretary of the chamber, for one press release on Sunday, said the new cedi against the dollar from 5.53 cedi to around 5.710 cedi. A forward the rate and I make the price and go up. He can say they don't get some kind of increase for FOB prices as freight premium don't shut up small because of the IMO CAP 2020 program. COPEC don't tell the Monetary Policy Committee to work very hard to control the cedi when we say they done so that they fit stop any fair price when we say go up for time when we say plenty petroleum consumers don't already they complain say the way fair prices they go up across the pump for the country it don't make sense. Goldman Sachs don't carry oil price forecast for 2020 go up because of the matter when we say the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their joint body they put for grant. Goldman analysts write for one note when we say the date for December 6 say that they carry their forecast for backwardation inside 2020 go up, although their long-term marginal cost forecast no change. The bank revised their Brent spot price forecast goes $63 per barrel for 2020, up from one before estimate of $60, and they still carry their West Texas Intermediate WTI spot price outlook go $58.5 per barrel from $55.5. Meanwhile, Brent future it did down by 0.3% for $64.19 per barrel. Oil producers them, when Saudi Arabia and Russia stand for front, they don't agree on Thursday say they go cut output of one extra 500,000 barrels per day for inside the first quarter of 2020. Still ahead on Top Plus TV Africa News, now we're roundup for entertainment and sports with the show back.
far away in a foreign land, they have embarked on a new adventure. What challenges will they confront? What pleasures will they experience?
Is to be the best in this competition because I really want to show the African how beautiful they are. Amazing!
A brand new life with all possibilities. Nigerians in China on StarTimes.nkoa.
Alright, on to entertainment. They say rapper Juice WRLD don't die for 21 years. The rapper gets seizure as they walk up. And on to sport, they say plenty goals happen for the Niger Professional Football League for the weekend. OMC just passed as Kano Pillar side record Obonge home win. For week 7, match OMC they play across the country. Kano Pillars OMC they and for Instagram at Plus TV Africa. And it go make sense when I subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We go still the same and plenty other to read them as time they go. My name, I promise, Nero. And I thank you now that you join us on Well Done.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright. I really like you.
I can still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Apala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi like,
Sleeping early.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the result of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, by no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Welcome to Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I'm Fumi Unuajefe. On this episode, we'll be focusing on women, strong and vocal women who are passionate about their country and their causes. We will start with Patience Baradenge, a banker helping female entrepreneurs in Kinshasa get loan for their businesses.
Patience Baradenge starts her day by visiting one of her clients. She works for a private Congolese bank that gives loans to businesswomen, like pharmacist Colette Kanika. With the loan, Kanika was able to renovate her pharmacy and open a second branch. I've established my business. Little by little, I'm trying to advance with the training I had at Rawbank. I'm trying to put it into practice. Baradenge has given over 1,000 loans to small business owners. She lobbies for every new customer, whether at the counter or on the phone. Women in Congo need their husband's authorization to take out a loan, but there is a way to bend the rules.
We suppose that the husband already allowed her to do business. So this is what we're doing. So we're not obliging her. We need the guarantee or the collateral of your husband. If the business of the woman, if she can by herself guarantee a loan, she can do by herself.
Baradenge is setting up her own organization to help young female entrepreneurs in Kinshasa. It's called Dream Ventures.
Everything starts when young women start coming to my office, giving me CVs, you know, for trying to look a job for them.
In the evening, Patience Barandengue is invited to a fashion show put on by 3 women. She's been supporting the group for a while and has chosen some of them for her new startup program. Barandengue has gathered her protégés who are grateful for any assistance they can get. It's really difficult here in the DRC. There are no banks that give loans to young women who want to start a business.
So those 3 girls, we have a lot of work to do together. I'm mentoring them. I want to coach them on how to make the business plan until they're going to finish their project.
The next morning, she has an appointment at the new office she has just rented. She plans to provide the young entrepreneurs with mentoring, financial support, and a common workspace.
In the incubator, we're going to also receive the young lady's office. The office also going to be in our office. So we need more space, but this is just the beginning where people can try to find us.
There's still a lot left to do before the launch, but Patience Barandengue is one step closer to reaching her goal.
Patient's story shows that if you empower a woman, you empower her family, and it has a ripple effect on the community. Our next story is on Chateau Mahamadou, an activist who speaks against injustice, social issues, and equality in Niger.
The houses have gone, demolished just a few weeks ago. A new bridge is being built here, as well as a bypass. Residents live in the ruins. This woman wants to give them a voice. Chateau Mahamadou. The human rights activist is producing a live radio show here between the ruins and the building site. 3 generations have lived here, in the center of Niamey.
If we do the program here, then those who rule this country will see that they have to govern better, that they have done something bad here, and that they have to change their behavior. If there are some people of goodwill there, then hopefully things will change.
The following day at Espace Citoyen, or Citizen Space, a human rights organization where Chateau Mahamadou presents her radio show.
We stop. There are no taboos. If there were, that would slow us down, and I don't want any slowing down of social life. We have to break down the barriers. We want to be transparent. The world has to change, and we have to continue to develop and move forward.
Chateau Mahamadou grew up with 6 siblings on the outskirts of Niamey. Her father had 2 households, as he had 2 wives. Despite all the difficulties, the 41-year-old has inherited her courage from her family. Unusually for Niger, her parents gave her the freedom to choose her profession and did not marry her off against her will. As a child, Chateau was very demanding, her mother says.
When she was young, she was so curious. She always wanted to know exactly what was going on around her. She asked lots of questions, and we always had to answer, even if we didn't know everything.
And it's that confident approach that Mahamadou takes out into the community. On this day, she's given a voice to more than 10 families. And Chateau Mahamadou won't stop until the people living at the building site receive more compensation from city authorities.
I love Chateau. She's a fierce, fearless woman. Now, from social activists, we head to the woman in politics in Senegal. President Sall inspired a young woman, Thérèse Fajoujou, to lead without worrying about her gender.
This is Thérèse Fajoujou's office. The Derrière Maire is on maternity leave and gets her files from City Hall delivered to her house, an opportunity not afforded to many women in Senegal. There were so many hostile comments from men who said I was too young and as a woman I could never be mayor of the city. But the women in my community mobilized for me, since they are very much aware that real problems in this country are ones that directly affect women and children. Diouf comes from a wealthy family. Nannies and domestic workers help her cope with the demands of everyday life. Her youngest daughter is just a few months old. She admits she's privileged. She says she owes a lot to her mentor, the president of Senegal, Macky Sall. President Sall inspired me to join politics. I was so impressed by how he supported local initiatives, that he supported youths and women's groups and students. And so we, the young people from around here, said, this is a man we need to support. While she was still a student, Diouf began campaigning for Sall, who'd only just formed his political party. When he became president, Sall rewarded her for her commitment and put her in charge of his party's youth organisation. The members of the group have nothing but admiration for their boss. Yesterday you were in the maternity ward, and today you are here before us. This shows your commitment and your strength, and shows that you're just as strong as a man. Diouf's commitment to her work and her support for the president are unwavering. Everyone she works with here wants President Sall to win a second term. Diouf's day is not over. After the party meeting, she heads off to a kindergarten. She's the Director General of the Federation of Public Kindergartens, a job she also owes to her mentor. At the moment, Senegal has about 1,500 state preschools and kindergartens. Diouf hopes to significantly increase that number, especially in rural regions. All of us working in the Senegalese education system have sent out a message that now everyone, even people in remote rural areas, know that they have to send their children to school. That's why preschool education in Senegal, which wasn't very developed, is now making progress. Diouf belongs to a generation of young Senegalese who've been educated abroad. But she's hoping that these children will have the opportunity to finish their schooling right here at home.
We have a lot of leading women in Africa. We've highlighted a few. Take a look. We'll take a break, and when we come back from the break, more on great women across the continent.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IO.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
sleeping early.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome back. Now we head to Ghana, where a social enterprise teaches girls technology basics.
You know what coding is?
It's workshops like these that Regina Honu envisioned when she started Tech Needs Girls. The social enterprise focuses on teaching girls technology basics so that they gain confidence in the idea of taking up a future career in the technology sector.
For most of the girls, they have no idea who a software developer is. They don't know much about technology. So we really start from the basics to give them a good foundation.
As a young girl, Honu wanted to become a rocket scientist.
From tech girls in Ghana, we have a tech girl in Zambia, Regina, a self-taught website designer, empowering others.
For Regina Mtonga, the internet is a little bit of freedom.
God had taken my mom away, and I honestly felt like he was punishing me for something that I had. I couldn't understand. Anything that could possibly go bad was going bad in my life. January 2014, I must honestly say that my life did change.
It was a change for the better. A year later, her work finally gained recognition, and from very high up, too.
Someone called Fabienne called and she said, Regina, I just wanted to be the first one to tell you you have been selected to be one of the 60 Queen's Young Leaders, the first 60 Queen's Young Leaders of 2015. And the guard came and asked me why I was making so much noise, and I told them, I'm going to...
Sometimes when we see celebrities